The sound of shattering crystal echoed across Seoul's most exclusive ballroom like a gunshot. Every head turned. Politicians froze mid-conversation. Crime financiers stopped breathing. Celebrities dropped their champagne glasses. Because standing at the entrance in an emerald silk gown that cost more than most people's houses was a ghost nobody expected to see again. Kang Min-seok, youngest mafia boss in Korean history, controller of the Black Viper Syndicate, the man who made grown assassins weep, stood completely still beside his fiancée at the head table. His face had gone white. Not from fear. Min-seok didn't do fear. From recognition. The woman walking toward him through the crowd wore power like a second skin. Billionaire tech CEO. AI empire worth hundreds of millions. Global magazines called her untouchable. But 9 years ago, she was just the scholarship girl whose mother cooked meals in the syndicate mansion. The girl Min-seok's family threw out like garbage. The girl he never stopped looking for. Naomi Carter stopped 3 feet from his table. Cameras flashed everywhere. The entire room held its breath. Then she smiled. Cold, controlled, devastating. "Congratulations on the engagement, Boss Kang," she said softly. "I'm here about the defense contract your organization is about to lose without my company's help." Min-seok's fiancé grabbed his arm possessively, but his eyes never left Naomi's wrist. Where a worn leather bracelet, the one he made her when they were 17 and stupid enough to believe love could survive in a world built on blood, still wrapped around her skin like a promise that refused to die. If you want to see how far this story reaches, hit that like button and comment what city you're watching from. Now let me tell you how a mafia boss and a billionaire CEO became each other's most dangerous weakness. There. The bracelet shouldn't have survived. Min-seok knew that the second he saw it catching light from the ballroom chandeliers. Cheap leather, uneven stitching. He'd made it in the syndicate garage between his father's interrogation sessions, hands still shaking from watching a man get his fingers broken for stealing from the wrong people. Naomi had kissed him for the first time that night, told him the bracelet meant more than every diamond her mother would never afford. 3 months later, his mother paid Naomi's family to disappear. Now she stood in front of 500 of Seoul's most dangerous people, wearing that goddamn bracelet like a weapon aimed directly at his chest. "Mr. Kang seems distracted," Naomi continued, her voice carrying across the silent ballroom. "Should I return when the groom is less occupied?" His fiancée, Park So-yeon, daughter of the Red Crane family, strategic alliance wrapped in designer silk, tightened her grip on Min-seok's arm hard enough to leave marks. "My fiancé is perfectly attentive," So-yeon said through a smile that could cut glass. "Though I'm not sure we're familiar with your company, Ms. Carter." "That's because your family specializes in construction bribes and protection rackets," Naomi replied without missing a beat. "My company builds artificial intelligence systems that prevent corporate espionage. Different markets entirely." Someone in the crowd choked on their drink. Min-seok finally found his voice. "Everyone out!" The ballroom erupted in confused murmurs. "Now," he repeated, quieter this time. That tone, the one that preceded bodies disappearing into the Han River, got people moving immediately. Politicians grabbed their wives. Crime bosses shepherded their entourages toward the exits. Even the musicians packed their instruments with shaking hands. Within 3 minutes, the massive space stood empty, except for Min-seok, So-yeon, Naomi, and 6 of Min-seok's personal security stationed at each entrance. So-yeon's carefully maintained composure cracked. "Min-seok, what the hell? Go wait in the car." "Excuse me?" He looked at his fiancée for the first time since Naomi walked through those doors. So-yeon was beautiful, intelligent, ruthless when necessary. Everything a syndicate boss needed in a strategic partnership. Everything except the one thing that made his chest feel like someone was crushing it slowly. "Please," he added, because even heartless bastards remembered manners sometimes. So-yeon's eyes moved between them, reading the situation with the precision of someone raised in organized crime. Her expression went carefully blank, the look people wore when they realized they were standing in the blast radius. "This isn't over," she said quietly. Then she walked out, heels clicking against marble like gunshots. Silence filled the ballroom thick enough to drown in. Naomi moved first. She crossed the remaining distance between them, stopped so close Min Seok could smell her perfume, something expensive and unfamiliar that made him irrationally angry because he didn't recognize it anymore. "You look good," she said. "Tailored suits, custom shoes. I remember when you wore the same 3 shirts for months because your father spent clothing money on ammunition. You look different." The words came out rougher than he intended. "Richer. Turns out survival is expensive." Naomi tilted her head, studying him like a specimen under laboratory glass. "You've killed people since I left. I can see it in your eyes. They're colder now." Min Seok's jaw tightened. "You walked into my engagement party wearing that bracelet. You want to talk about cold?" "I wore it because I wanted you to know I remember everything." Her voice dropped. "Every promise, every lie. Every night your mother looked at my mom like we were dirt she couldn't wash off her marble floors. Naomi Ekipo." "She died, Min Seok." The words hit him like bullets. "My mother, 3 years after we left Seoul. Cancer. The treatable kind, except we couldn't afford treatment because every job she found mysteriously disappeared. Every investor who showed interest in her restaurant suddenly backed out. Every door that opened slammed shut before we could walk through it." Min Seok felt something cold settle in his stomach. "What are you talking about?" "Your family." Naomi pulled her phone from a clutch that probably cost more than the bracelet's sentimental value. She scrolled through something, then turned the screen toward him. "I have the paper trail, bank transfers, email chains. Your mother paid people across 3 continents to make sure we stayed poor and desperate." The document showed exactly what she claimed. His mother's shell companies, payoffs to employers, systematic destruction disguised as bad luck. "I didn't know," Min Seok said. "Would it have mattered?" Naomi asked. "You were 17 when we left. 18 when you took your first life for the syndicate. 20 when you became the youngest captain in Black Viper history. 23 when you killed your uncle during the Succession War and took control of the entire organization." She recited his biography like reading a coroner's report. "I followed your career," she continued. "Every article. Every arrest that went nowhere because half the police force is on your payroll. I watched you become exactly what your father wanted, a perfect weapon wrapped in expensive clothes." "Then why come back?" Min Seok demanded. "Why walk into this world again if you hate everything I became?" Naomi's smile turned sharp. "Because I need the defense contract your syndicate is about to lose, and you need my company's technology to win it. I'm offering you a business partnership that will save your legitimate empire from collapse." "Bullshit!" He moved closer, crowding her space the way he used to when they were teenagers arguing in the mansion's garden. "You could work with any crime organization in Asia, the Yakuza, triads. Why come back to me? Maybe I wanted to see if you still wore the jade pendant." The words stopped him cold. Naomi reached out slowly, fingers brushing against his collar. She pulled the thin chain from beneath his shirt, revealing the small jade piece carved in the shape of a dragon. The pendant she'd saved 3 months of part-time wages to buy him for his 18th birthday. The birthday that happened 2 weeks after she disappeared. "You kept it," she whispered. "I keep lots of things," Min Seok said. His voice came out strained. "Doesn't mean anything." "Liar." Her fingers lingered against his chest. "Your heart is racing." He grabbed her wrist, not rough but firm enough to stop the movement. "You don't get to do this. You don't get to leave for 9 years, build an empire, then walk back into my life and act like we're still those stupid kids who thought love mattered more than survival. I never thought love mattered more than survival." Naomi pulled her hand back. "That's why I left." The admission hung between them. "The contract?" Min Seok said finally. "Explain it." Naomi's expression shifted back to business mode instantly. "Your syndicate's technology division is hemorrhaging money. Someone inside your organization leaked classified information to your competitors. The Seoul Metropolitan Government was going to award you the Smart City Surveillance contract, $3 billion over 5 years. Now they're reviewing other bidders." "I know all this," Min Seok said impatiently. "What you don't know is that my company has the only AI infrastructure advanced enough to secure that contract. We've built surveillance systems for governments across 3 continents. Our facial recognition software is 98% accurate. Our predictive policing algorithms reduce crime in Singapore by 40%. She pulled up another screen on her phone, showing technical specifications that meant nothing to him beyond expensive and complicated. I can give you the contract, Naomi continued, but I want something in return. Money? Access. Her eyes met his directly. To your syndicate's network, your connections, your infrastructure. I'm expanding into Asia-Pacific security markets, and you control half the underground intelligence in South Korea. Min Se-ok laughed, short, bitter. You want to use my criminal empire to build your legitimate business empire. I prefer to call it strategic resource allocation. I prefer to call it insane. He turned away, running a hand through his hair. You have any idea what my board will say if I announce I'm partnering with a foreign CEO who has zero ties to the organization? They'll think you're either a spy or a liability. Then don't tell them who I used to be, Naomi said calmly. As far as anyone knows, I'm just another corporate vulture trying to profit from organized crime connections. It happens every day. They'll investigate you. My mother will investigate you. Let them. She straightened her shoulders. I'm not the scared teenager who ran away anymore, Min Se-ok. I've got lawyers, security, and enough money to make problems disappear. Your mother can't touch me now. He turned back to face her. She could kill you. She could try. The casual way Naomi said it, like discussing weather patterns, made something dangerous twist inside Min Se-ok's chest. This wasn't the girl he remembered. That girl flinched at loud noises, cried when his father yelled, treated violence like a foreign language she refused to learn. This woman standing in front of him spoke fluent ruthlessness. When did you get so cold? He asked quietly. When did you get so weak? Naomi countered. The Min Se-ok I knew would have told his fiancée to go to hell in front of everyone. You sent her away politely like some corporate executive worried about HR complaints. I was being respectful. You were being careful, she interrupted. You've gotten soft in your expensive penthouse. Built an empire so legitimate you forgot how to be dangerous. Min Se-ok moved before thinking. He crossed the space between them in 2 steps, backed Naomi against the nearest wall, one hand braced beside her head. You want to see dangerous? His voice dropped to the tone that made grown men confess to crimes they didn't commit. I've tortured people for smaller insults than what you just said. Naomi didn't flinch. Do it then. Show me if you're still the boy who promised to burn down the world for me. They were too close. Close enough that Min Se-ok could see the faint scar on her collarbone, the one she got falling from a tree in the mansion garden while he dared her to climb higher. Close enough to notice she still wore the same subtle makeup style, barely there except for darkened lashes. Close enough to remember exactly how she tasted the last time they kissed. This is a bad idea, he said. Terrible idea, Naomi agreed. Neither of them moved. The contract, Min Se-ok said, forcing himself to step back. How long do I have to decide? The government announces their decision in 6 weeks. If you want my help, I need access to your systems within 72 hours to assess the damage and start building countermeasures. That's not enough time. Then you'll lose $3 billion and watch your technology division collapse entirely. Naomi smoothed her dress, composure restored like nothing happened. Your choice, Boss Kang. She started walking toward the exit. Why the bracelet? Min Se-ok called after her. Naomi paused, glanced back over her shoulder. Because I wanted to see if you'd notice. If somewhere beneath the expensive suits and controlled violence, the boy I loved still existed. And? Her smile turned sad. I'm still deciding. Then she left. Min Se-ok stood alone in the empty ballroom, heart racing, hands shaking, every carefully constructed wall he'd built over 9 years crumbling around him like paper. His phone buzzed, text from his mother. We need to talk about the woman who disrupted your engagement party. Another text from his second-in-command. Running background check on Naomi Carter. Initial findings concerning? Another from Soyeon. I'm going home. We'll discuss this tomorrow when you're thinking clearly. Min Se-ok ignored all of them. Instead, he pulled out his own phone, opened an encrypted message to his most trusted investigator, the man who'd spent 9 years quietly searching for a girl who vanished overnight. Stop the search. I found her. The response came immediately. Want me to keep digging into her background? Min Se-ok stared at the jade pendant still hanging outside his shirt, thought about the bracelet on Naomi's wrist, the coldness in her eyes, the way her voice cracked slightly when she mentioned her mother's death. No. Leave it alone, because some ghosts deserve to stay buried. and some deserve to burn everything down. Pullman. The syndicate's emergency board meeting happened at 3 in the morning inside Min Se-ok's private office, a space designed for intimidation. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's skyline, black marble desk big enough to land a helicopter, walls decorated with traditional Korean art that cost more than most people earned in a lifetime. 7 captains sat around the conference table, each controlling a different aspect of Black Viper operations: construction, gambling, protection, trafficking, money laundering, cybersecurity, and political connections. His mother sat at the far end, perfectly composed despite the late hour. "Explain the woman," she said without preamble. Min Se-ok leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. Naomi Carter, CEO of Carter Technologies. Forbes listed her as one of Asia's most influential tech entrepreneurs under 35. Her company is worth approximately $800 million, specializing in AI-driven security and surveillance systems. "We know her resume," interrupted Park Jin-hyun, his future father-in-law, captain of political connections. "We want to know why she disrupted your engagement party. She came to offer a business partnership." The room erupted. "You can't be serious. A foreign CEO with no syndicate ties. This is exactly the kind of outside interference." Min Se-ok let them argue for 30 seconds before slamming his hand against the desk. The sound cracked through the room like a whip. Silence. "I didn't ask for opinions," he said quietly. "I stated a fact. Naomi Carter has the technology we need to win the Seoul metropolitan contract. Without her infrastructure, we lose $3 billion and our foothold in legitimate technology markets." His mother's expression remained neutral. "And what does Ms. Carter want in return?" "Access to our network, intelligence connections, distribution channels for her Asia-Pacific expansion." "Absolutely not," said Min Taekwon, captain of cybersecurity. "We don't give outsiders access to syndicate infrastructure. It's a security nightmare." "She's not an outsider." The words came out before Min Se-ok could stop them. His mother's eyes sharpened. "Explain." Min Se-ok kept his expression carefully blank. "She has existing relationships with underground networks across Asia, Yakuza in Japan, triads in Hong Kong. She's been building these connections for years. Partnering with us just expands her existing model." Technically true. Naomi's company worked with organizations that had organized crime ties. He was just leaving out the part where her connection to Black Viper was personal rather than professional. "I don't like it," Jin-hyun said. "My daughter is humiliated. Your engagement party turned into a circus. Now you want to do business with the woman responsible?" "I want to do business with the woman who can save our technology division from bankruptcy," Min Se-ok corrected. "Your daughter's feelings are secondary to syndicate profits." Jin-hyun's face turned red. "You're making decisions with your cock instead of your brain." Min Se-ok stood up slowly. "Say that again." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Jin-hyun held his gaze for 5 seconds, then looked away. Because despite being 20 years older and infinitely more experienced, everyone in that room knew the same truth. Kang Min Se-ok became boss by killing anyone who challenged him. Age didn't matter when you were willing to pull the trigger yourself. "We need more information about Carter Technologies," Min Se-ok's mother said, cutting through the tension. "Full background check. Financial audits. Personal history. If she's going to access our infrastructure, we need to know every skeleton in her closet." "I'll handle it personally," said Min Taekwon. "No." Min Se-ok's voice turned sharp. "I'll handle it. The rest of you focus on damage control from the engagement party. I want every news outlet killed, every photo scrubbed from social media, every gossip blog paid off or threatened into silence." "And Soyeon?" Jin-hyun asked coldly. "I'll talk to her tomorrow." "That's not good enough." "It's what's happening," Min Se-ok interrupted. "This meeting is over." They filed out slowly, shooting him looks ranging from concerned to hostile. His mother stayed behind, waiting until the door closed before speaking. "Who is she really?" she asked. Min Se-ok's expression gave away nothing. "I told you, tech CEO, business opportunity." "Min Se-ok." His mother's voice softened slightly, a trick she used when playing the concerned parent instead of the syndicate matriarch. "I've known you since you were born. You don't disrupt engagement parties over business opportunities." Maybe I'm evolving. You're being reckless. She stood, moved to the window. That woman is dangerous. I can feel it. Everyone in our world is dangerous, Min Seok said. That's the point. His mother turned back to face him. I've already started investigating her. The initial report came back an hour ago. Would you like to know what we found? Every muscle in Min Seok's body tensed. I'm sure you'll tell me regardless. Naomi Carter didn't exist before 9 years ago. His mother watched his reaction carefully. Before that, her background is completely blank. No birth records, no school transcripts, nothing. It's like she materialized out of thin air right around the time someone with a very similar name left Seoul. Min Seok said nothing. Do you remember Lee Yuna? His mother continued. The scholarship girl whose mother worked in our kitchens? Sweet thing. Quiet. Kept her head down. I gave her family money to leave the country after she started getting too close to my son. The jade pendant felt heavy against Min Seok's chest. I wonder, his mother mused, if that girl might have changed her name after leaving Korea, built a new identity, created a whole new life somewhere her past couldn't follow her. Min Seok met his mother's eyes directly. Even if that were true, which you can't prove, what does it matter? She's offering us a legitimate business solution to a very expensive problem. It matters because you're compromised. His mother's voice turned cold. You think I didn't notice the way you looked at her? The way you cleared that entire ballroom like you were protecting her from scrutiny? I cleared the ballroom to avoid a scene. You cleared it because seeing her again broke something inside you that I thought I'd successfully killed 9 years ago. His mother moved closer. Love is a weakness in our world, Min Seok. It makes you predictable, vulnerable, exploitable. I don't love her, Min Seok said. The lie tasted like blood. I barely know her anymore. Then prove it. His mother pulled out her phone, typed something quickly. I'm sending you an address. Go there tomorrow night. You'll find something very interesting about your new business partner. What kind of something? His mother smiled, the expression she wore when destroying people. The kind that reminds you why mixing business with emotion is fatal. She left without another word. Min Seok stood alone in his office as dawn started breaking across Seoul's skyline, turning the city pink and gold and beautiful in the way things are right before they burn. His phone buzzed with his mother's message, an address in Gangnam, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Another buzz. Text from Naomi. I'm staying at the Shilla Hotel, penthouse suite. If you decide to accept the partnership, meet me there tomorrow at 7. We have work to do. He stared at both messages. 7 p.m. with Naomi. 8 p.m. at his mother's mysterious address. Min Seok pulled the jade pendant from beneath his shirt, turned it over in his palm. The dragon carving had worn smooth in places from 9 years of constant wear. Some ghost deserved to burn everything down. He just wasn't sure yet if he'd help light the match or try to stop the fire. Min Seok spent the next day doing what he did best, being terrifying. First stop, the technology division where the leak originated. He walked through the office at 6 a.m., watched employees scramble to look busy, then locked himself in the server room with Min Taekwon. Show me everything, Min Seok said. Taekwon pulled up screens full of code, server logs, encrypted communications. Someone accessed our classified proposal files 6 times over the past month. They copied everything, technical specifications, pricing models, security protocols. Then they sold it to Golden Dragon Industries, our biggest competitor for the government contract. Exactly. Taekwon highlighted several suspicious transactions. The leak came from inside this building, someone with high-level access. Who? That's the problem. The access codes rotate every 48 hours. Whoever did this knew how to cover their tracks professionally. Min Seok studied the data. What does Carter Technologies offer that we can't do internally? Taekwon pulled up another screen showing Naomi's company specifications. Their AI can trace the leak retroactively through deleted files and scrubbed servers. It's like digital forensics on steroids. Plus, their encryption is military grade. If we rebuild our entire security infrastructure using her technology, nobody can steal from us again. How long to integrate her systems? Assuming full cooperation and unlimited resources, 4 weeks minimum. We have 6 weeks before the government announces their decision. Then we better start immediately. Min Seok checked his watch. Already past noon, he had 7 hours before meeting Naomi. Set up a secure line to Carter Technologies, he ordered. I want a technical team ready to work the moment I confirm the partnership. Boss, Taekwon hesitated. Is this about the contract or about the woman? Min Se-ok's expression turned cold enough to frost the server room. When did my motivations become your concern? They didn't. I apologize. Good. Min Se-ok headed for the door. Have that secure line ready by 6 p.m. Next stop, Soyeon. She lived in a luxury apartment paid for by her father, an entire floor overlooking the Han River. Min Se-ok used his key to enter, found her sitting on the balcony drinking wine despite it being barely afternoon. You're late, Soyeon said without looking at him. I expected you this morning. I was working. You were avoiding me. Min Se-ok sat down across from her. We need to talk about the engagement. No shit. Soyeon finally met his eyes. That woman, Naomi Carter, you knew her before. Not a question, a statement. Yes, Min Se-ok admitted. How long? Does it matter? Soyeon laughed bitterly. I've been planning our wedding for 6 months. My father restructured his entire organization around our alliance. Your mother already sent out invitations to half of Seoul's elite. So yes, Min Se-ok, it fucking matters. He'd never heard her curse before. It made him realize how much composure she'd been maintaining for months. I'm sorry, he said. You're sorry? She poured herself more wine. The most feared mafia boss in Korea is sorry for humiliating me in front of 500 people. The engagement was strategic. I know what it was. Soyeon's voice turned sharp. You think I wanted to marry you? You think I had romantic fantasies about the man who killed 3 people during our first date? Min Se-ok blinked. You knew about that. Everyone knows everything in our world. It's just polite to pretend otherwise. She drained her glass. I agreed to marry you because it made sense. Your syndicate needed my father's political connections. My family needed your muscle and infrastructure. Simple transaction. Then why are you angry? Because I'm not allowed to be. Soyeon slammed the glass down. I'm supposed to smile and accept whatever you decide like a good syndicate wife. But you looked at that woman like she was oxygen, and you'd been drowning for years. The accuracy of the description made Min Se-ok's chest tighten. I can offer you more than she can, Soyeon continued, her composure cracking completely. I understand this world. I won't flinch when you come home covered in blood. I won't ask questions about bodies in the river. I won't try to change you or save you or turn you into something softer. I know, Min Se-ok said quietly. Then why does she win? The question hung between them like a blade. Because she's the one I want, Min Se-ok said finally. Even when it makes no sense. Even when it's dangerous and stupid and completely irrational. I've spent 9 years trying not to want her. It didn't work. So Yeon's expression went carefully blank again, that syndicate face she wore like armor. My father will be furious. I'll handle him. He might try to kill you. He might succeed. She studied him for a long moment. You really don't care anymore, do you? About the alliance, about strategic advantages. You're willing to burn it all down for a woman who left you once already. Yes. Soyeon stood up slowly. Then you're either the bravest man I've ever met or the stupidest. I haven't decided which. She walked to the door, opened it. Get out of my apartment. If you're going to destroy everything, at least have the decency not to do it on my balcony. Min Se-ok left without another word. As he rode the elevator down, his phone buzzed. Text from Soyeon. For what it's worth, I hope she's worth it. He didn't respond. Because he wasn't sure yet if Naomi was worth destroying an empire. But he was absolutely certain he was going to find out. The Shilla Hotel penthouse smelled like money and secrets. Min Se-ok arrived at exactly 7 p.m., dressed in a black shirt and slacks because the suit suddenly felt like costume jewelry. Pretty, but fake. The elevator opened directly into Naomi's suite. No hallway, no buffer between the outside world and whatever the hell was about to happen. She stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul, back turned to him, wearing jeans and an oversized sweater that somehow made her look more dangerous than the emerald gown had. Like she didn't need armor anymore because she'd become the weapon. You're punctual, Naomi said without turning around. I wasn't sure you'd come. I wasn't sure either. Min Se-ok stayed near the elevator, hands in his pockets. Right up until I walked through the door. And what changed your mind? Curiosity, stupidity. Take your pick. Naomi turned around finally. No makeup tonight, hair pulled back in a messy knot. She looked younger this way, closer to the girl he remembered, except her eyes still carried that new coldness like frost that wouldn't melt. I ordered food, she said, gesturing toward a table covered in Korean takeout containers. Figured we'd be here a while. Hope you still like jjajangmyeon. The casual mention of his favorite cheap noodles, the kind they used to sneak from the corner restaurant when his mother wasn't watching, hit harder than it should have. You remember, Min Seok said. I remember everything. Naomi sat down at the table, started opening containers with practiced efficiency. You hate cilantro. You drink coffee black with 2 sugars, but you tell people you drink it black. You crack your knuckles when you're nervous. You touch the jade pendant when you think nobody's watching. She paused, met his eyes directly. And you still sleep on the left side of the bed because you want the right side available in case someone ever sleeps beside you again. Min Seok's throat went tight. How the hell do you know that? I've been watching you for 3 years. Naomi said it like discussing the weather. Ever since my company became successful enough that I could afford private investigators who don't ask questions. I know you visit your father's grave every month, even though you hated him. I know you donate anonymously to the scholarship fund at your old school. I know you haven't had a serious relationship since me because you sabotage them the moment they get too close. She stood up, walked toward him slowly. I know you still look for me in crowds, even though you thought I was gone forever, she continued. I know because I do the same thing. 9 years and I still turn my head when I hear someone laugh a certain way. Still check faces in airports hoping maybe, impossibly, you'd be there. Min Seok couldn't breathe properly. You left. You didn't give me a choice. Your mother gave me $50,000 and a plane ticket, Naomi said. She told me if I stayed, you'd be killed during the succession war, that your uncle would use me as leverage to destroy you. She said the kindest thing I could do was disappear completely so you'd have nothing to lose. And you believed her? I was 18 and terrified. Naomi's voice cracked slightly. My mom was crying. Your mother's guards were packing our things while we stood there. What the hell was I supposed to do? Fight, Min Seok said. You were supposed to fight. I did fight. Naomi's composure shattered. I fought for 3 years in America, working every garbage job that would hire me. Fought to keep my mom alive when the cancer treatments cost more than we made in 6 months. Fought to get into MIT with scholarships because I had nothing else. Fought to build a company from nothing while everyone told me I was too young, too foreign, too female to succeed. She was breathing hard now, eyes bright with unshed tears. I fought every single day to become someone your family couldn't destroy anymore, she finished. Someone powerful enough to walk back into your world and not flinch. So don't you dare tell me I didn't fight. The silence stretched between them like broken glass. Min Seok moved first. He crossed the space, pulled Naomi against his chest, felt her resistance last maybe 3 seconds before she collapsed into him completely. I looked for you, he said quietly against her hair. Everywhere. I had investigators searching 3 continents. I thought maybe you were dead. Thought maybe you'd married someone else. Thought maybe you hated me enough to stay hidden forever. I did hate you. Naomi's voice came muffled against his shirt. For about 6 months. Then I just missed you so much it felt like dying slowly. Why didn't you contact me once you were safe? She pulled back enough to look at him. Because by then you were the Black Viper boss. You'd killed people, built an empire. I watched you become this terrifying legend, and I thought, he doesn't need the scholarship girl anymore. He's moved on. I never moved on, Min Seok said. I just got better at pretending. Naomi laughed, bitter and broken. We're a real disaster, aren't we? Completely. The contract, she said, forcing herself to step back. We should probably discuss the actual business partnership before we... Min Seok kissed her. Not gentle, not tentative. 9 years of wanting compressed into one movement that tasted like desperation and fury and coming home after being lost too long. Naomi made a sound between a gasp and a sob, then kissed him back just as fiercely. They broke apart, breathing hard. That was stupid, Naomi whispered. Terrible idea, Min Seok agreed. We have work to do. So much work. Neither of them moved. Then Naomi's phone rang. sharp and loud in the quiet suite. She pulled away reluctantly, checked the screen, frowned. "It's my head of security. I need to take this." Min Seok nodded, used the interruption to walk to the windows and try to remember how breathing worked normally. Behind him, Naomi answered. "What's wrong?" Her tone shifted immediately from soft to lethal in half a second. "When?" Pause. "How many people know?" Longer pause. "Lock it down. Nobody talks to anyone. I'll handle it personally." She hung up, stood completely still for 5 seconds. "What happened?" Min Seok asked. Naomi turned around. Her expression had gone carefully blank, the syndicate face Soyeon wore. "Someone tried to hack our servers an hour ago. Very sophisticated attempt. Military-grade encryption. They were looking specifically for files related to Korean contracts." "Your competition?" "No." Her voice turned cold. "The digital signature matches tools used by Korean intelligence services." Min Seok felt ice settle in his stomach. "The government is investigating you." "Or someone wants me to think the government is investigating me." Naomi started pacing. "Could be a competitor using stolen tools. Could be an actual intelligence operation. Could be someone trying to sabotage our partnership before it starts." "Could be my mother," Min Seok said quietly. Naomi stopped pacing. "What?" He pulled out his phone, showed her the message from last night. "She sent me this. An address in Gangnam. Told me I'd find something interesting about you." "What time?" 8 p.m. tonight. Naomi checked her watch. "That's in 45 minutes. "I wasn't planning to go." "You should." Her expression turned calculating. "If your mother knows something about me she's willing to use as leverage, we need to know what it is. Otherwise we're playing chess blindfolded." Min Seok studied her carefully. "What are you afraid she found?" "I don't know." Naomi's jaw tightened. "I've been careful. New identity, clean background, shell companies hiding my tracks. But your mother has resources. If she dug deep enough, she'd find Lee Yuna." Min Seok finished. The name hung between them. "She already knows," Naomi said. "Doesn't she?" "She suspects. She can't prove it yet, but she's close." Naomi laughed, sharp and humorless. "Of course she is. I spent 3 years building an untraceable identity, and she cracks it in 48 hours. She's had practice making people disappear. Then we're screwed." Naomi sat down heavily on the couch. "If she exposes my real identity, my company's credibility tanks. Investors will think I'm hiding criminal connections. Clients will drop their contracts. Everything I built collapses." Min Seok sat beside her. "Not if we control the narrative first." "How?" "We tell the truth." He turned to face her. "Not publicly. Just to my board. We say, yes, you're Lee Yuna. Yes, you were involved with me years ago. Yes, you left and built yourself into someone powerful enough to save our technology division. We frame it as a success story instead of a scandal. Your board will never accept that." "They will if I make them." Naomi looked at him carefully. "You'd go to war with your own organization over this?" "I've been going to war my whole life," Min Seok said. "At least this time it's for something that matters." She reached out, took his hand. Her fingers were cold. "You need to go to that address, find out what your mother knows. We can't make decisions blind. Come with me." "Bad idea. If she's setting a trap, walking into it together makes us both vulnerable. So I go alone into whatever ambush she's prepared?" "You're the most dangerous man in Seoul," Naomi said. "You'll survive." Min Seok stood up reluctantly. "What will you do?" "Fight the hack. Secure my systems. Make sure whoever tried to break in doesn't get a second chance." She walked him to the elevator. "Text me when you're clear. If I don't hear from you by 10 p.m., I'm sending my security team." The elevator doors opened. Min Seok stepped inside, turned back to face her. "This is insane." "Completely," Naomi agreed. "We should walk away from each other before someone gets killed." "Probably." The doors started closing. "Min Seok," Naomi called out. He caught the doors, held them open. "I'm not leaving again," she said quietly. "Whatever happens tonight, whatever your mother found, whatever hell breaks loose, I'm staying this time, even if it destroys everything." The doors closed before he could respond. Min Seok rode down 40 floors trying to figure out if that promise felt like hope or a death sentence. The address led to an unremarkable office building in Gangnam's business district. Nothing special about it, nothing that screamed trap or ambush or whatever his mother had planned, which made it more terrifying. Min Seok parked on the street, texted his location to his second-in-command just in case, then walked inside. The lobby was empty except for a security guard who nodded him toward the elevators without asking questions. Someone had given instructions ahead of time. 15th floor, suite 1507. The elevator ride felt like descending into cold water. The suite door was unlocked. Min Seok pushed it open carefully, hand near the gun under his jacket. Inside was an empty office space. No furniture, no decorations, just bare walls and industrial carpet. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed Seoul's nighttime skyline glittering like broken stars. His mother stood in the center of the room. Not alone. 3 people sat in chairs arranged in a semicircle, all bound, all gagged, all very much alive and terrified. "Hello, son," his mother said calmly. Min Seok recognized the captives immediately. 2 men and 1 woman, engineers from Carter Technologies' Seoul branch office. "What the hell is this?" he demanded. "Research." His mother walked toward the windows. "I told you I'd show you something interesting about your new business partner." "Well, here it is. These 3 people all work directly for Naomi Carter, and they all have very fascinating stories to tell." She nodded to one of her guards. The man removed the gag from the woman's mouth. "Tell him," Min Seok's mother ordered. The woman was crying. "I don't know anything." "Tell him about the Beijing office. Please, I just work in accounting." The guard hit her, not hard enough to cause serious damage, just hard enough to make the point. "Stop," Min Seok said sharply. His mother ignored him. "The Beijing office. Explain its purpose." The woman sobbed. "It's a shell company. Ms. Carter uses it to move money between countries. That's all I know." "Money from where?" "I don't know. I just process the transactions." His mother nodded. The guard replaced the gag. "Second one," she said. The older man's gag came off. He was sweating badly. "Tell my son about Ms. Carter's intelligence network," his mother prompted. "She has connections," the man said quickly. "Security consultants who used to work for governments. Some of them still do. She pays them for information about contracts, competitors, political situations. Corporate espionage," Min Seok's mother said. "Your brilliant CEO is a spy." "It's not illegal," the man protested. "Everyone does it." The guard hit him anyway. Min Seok felt rage building in his chest. "This is torture." "This is due diligence," his mother corrected. Third one. The younger man practically screamed when his gag came off. "She killed someone. Miss Carter killed someone in Singapore 3 years ago." The room went silent. Min Seok's mother smiled. "Finally, the interesting part. Explain." "I don't have details," the young man said desperately, "but there was an incident, a competitor who was going to expose something about her past. He died in a car accident right before a major contract signing. Everyone in the company knows it wasn't really an accident." "You're lying," Min Seok said. "I swear I'm not. Ask anyone who worked the Singapore office. They all know." His mother waved the guard to replace the gag. Then she turned to Min Seok. "So," she said calmly, "your innocent tech CEO runs shell companies for money laundering, operates an illegal intelligence network, and quite possibly commits murder to protect her secrets. Still thinks she's better than a strategic marriage to the Park family?" Min Seok stared at the 3 terrified employees, then back at his mother. "Let them go," he said quietly. "Answer my question first." "Let them go!" His mother studied him for a long moment, then nodded to her guards. "Take them downstairs. Make sure they understand what happens if they talk about tonight." The guards removed the captives quickly. Their muffled crying echoed in the stairwell. Min Seok and his mother stood alone in the empty office. "You don't care," she said, "about the shell companies, the espionage, the possible murder. You don't care at all." "I care that you kidnapped her employees and tortured them for information. I extracted intelligence using standard interrogation techniques." "You committed multiple felonies," his mother laughed. "Since when do you care about felonies? You've committed hundreds yourself." "Not against innocents," Min Seok's voice turned cold. "Those people didn't choose this world. They're just programmers and accountants trying to make a living. They work for someone who's using you. Or I'm using her. No. His mother moved closer. You're being used, Min Seok. Can't you see it? She comes back after 9 years with perfect timing. Right when you need technology expertise, right when you're vulnerable because of the leak, right when your engagement gives you something to lose. It's too convenient. Life is convenient sometimes. Not in our world. His mother's expression turned almost sympathetic. I know you loved her once. I know you probably still do. But the girl you loved doesn't exist anymore. She became someone just as ruthless as us. Maybe more so, because she hides it better. Min Seok pulled out his phone. I'm leaving. I'm not finished. Yes, you are. He headed for the door. You made your point. Naomi isn't innocent. She's built an empire using morally questionable methods. Congratulations on discovering that powerful people do terrible things. Truly shocking information in our line of work. She's dangerous to you specifically, his mother called after him, because she's the only person who can make you weak. Min Seok stopped at the door. Maybe I'm tired of being strong all the time. Then you'll die. Everyone dies eventually. He looked back at his mother. The question is whether you die for something worth it. He left before she could respond. Min Seok made it halfway to his car before his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered anyway. What? Is this Kang Min Seok? Female voice, American accent, professional tone. Who's asking? My name is Sarah Chen. I'm head of security for Carter Technologies. Ms. Carter is missing. The world tilted sideways. What do you mean missing? Min Seok demanded. She left the hotel 45 minutes ago. Said she was going to check on something at our Seoul office. She should have arrived 20 minutes ago. She's not answering her phone. Building security has no record of her entering. Min Seok was already running to his car. Send me the office address. Already done. But Mr. Kang, there's something else. We found evidence of a second hack attempt. This one targeted Ms. Carter's personal phone. Someone accessed her GPS location data. When? An hour ago. Right around the time Min Seok left for his mother's trap. Who knew she was at the Shilla? He asked. Just our security team and... Sarah paused. And whoever was monitoring her location data. Min Seok's blood turned to ice. How many people have access to that kind of surveillance? In Seoul? Korean intelligence services. Major criminal organizations with technical capabilities. Anyone with significant resources and motivation. Send me everything you have on the hack. I'll find her. He hung up, immediately called his second-in-command. I need every available man searching Gangnam District, Min Seok ordered. We're looking for a woman, 5'6", dark hair, probably wearing casual clothes, armed response authorized. What's happening? Someone took Naomi. Silence on the other end. Then, boss, if your mother finds out you're mobilizing the entire syndicate for... I don't care what my mother thinks, Min Seok interrupted. Find her, now. He drove toward Carter Technologies' Seoul office, breaking every traffic law, mind racing through possibilities. His mother? Too obvious. She'd just shown her hand with the interrogation. Taking Naomi immediately after would be sloppy. Rival gangs? Possible. Golden Dragon Industries had the most to lose from the partnership. Someone else entirely? Someone who wanted both organizations destabilized? His phone buzzed. Text from Sarah Chen. Building security footage shows a black van parked outside our office for 2 hours. Left 15 minutes ago, sending you the license plate. The license plate came through seconds later. Min Seok forwarded it to his second-in-command. Run this. I need to know who owns it and where it went. 3 minutes later, the response came back. Plate belongs to a shell company, same one that's been linked to the Golden Dragon Industries money laundering investigation. Last known location heading toward the industrial district near the river. Of course, the industrial district, where old warehouses sat empty and screaming didn't carry far. Min Seok made an illegal U-turn, headed toward the river, called up 5 of his most trusted enforcers. Converge on the industrial district, he ordered. We're looking for a black van, armed response authorized. If you find Naomi Carter, you protect her at all costs. And if someone tries to stop us, one enforcer asked. Kill them, Min Seok said flatly. He disconnected, pressed the accelerator harder. His phone rang again. His mother. He answered. What? I hear you're mobilizing our forces, she said calmly. Want to explain why? Naomi's been taken. Pause. By whom? I'm about to find out. Min Seok. His mother's voice turned sharp. This is exactly what I warned you about. She's making you reckless. You're about to start a gang war over a woman you barely know anymore. She's not a woman I barely know. Min Seok's voice came out cold and final. She's the only person I've ever loved, so either help me find her or stay the hell out of my way. He hung up. The industrial district loomed ahead, dark warehouses and empty lots stretching along the river like tombstones. Min Seok's phone buzzed, text from one of his enforcers. Found the van, warehouse on the east side. Hostile presence confirmed. At least 6 armed men. Another text. Boss, these aren't Golden Dragon people. Uniforms suggest private military contractors. Private military. Professional soldiers. Not gang members playing at war. This wasn't a simple kidnapping. This was an execution. Min Seok pulled up to the warehouse, counted 8 cars already there, his people forming a perimeter. He grabbed his gun from the glove compartment, checked the magazine, clicked off the safety. His second-in-command jogged over. Thermal imaging shows at least 10 people inside. One of them is restrained in the center, probably Ms. Carter. Entry points? Front door and a loading dock on the south side, both covered by armed guards. How long to breach? With the people we have, 3 minutes if we go loud, 7 if we try stealth. Min Seok's phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. You have 15 minutes to arrive alone or she dies. Come to the front door unarmed. He showed the message to his second-in-command. It's a trap, the man said immediately. Obviously. You can't go in there alone. I can and I will. Min Seok handed over his gun. Give me 7 minutes. If I'm not out with Naomi by then, breach from both sides simultaneously. Kill everyone except her. Boss, that's an order. Min Seok walked toward the warehouse front door before anyone could argue further. The door opened before he reached it. 2 men in tactical gear stood on either side, professional soldiers with cold eyes and expensive weapons. Hands where we can see them, one ordered. Min Seok raised his hands, let them pat him down roughly, confiscate his phone and the backup knife he kept in his boot. Inside. They marched him through a dark corridor into the main warehouse space. Naomi knelt in the center of the room, hands zip-tied behind her back, blood running from a cut above her eyebrow. 6 more soldiers surrounded her in a loose circle, and standing behind her, gun pressed against her head, was someone Min Seok recognized, Park Jin-hyun, his former future father-in-law. Hello, Min Seok, Jin-hyun said pleasantly. Thank you for coming so quickly. Min Seok's expression stayed carefully neutral even as rage burned through his chest. Let her go. I will, eventually, after we have a conversation about respect. You want to talk about respect while holding a gun to an unarmed woman's head? Jin-hyun smiled. I want to talk about how you humiliated my daughter, how you ended an engagement that took 2 years to negotiate, how you threw away a strategic alliance that would have made both our families untouchable. Your daughter deserved better than a marriage built on obligation, Min Seok said. My daughter deserved a husband who honored his commitments. Jin-hyun's composure cracked. But instead she got a lovesick fool who threw away an empire for his childhood sweetheart. He pressed the gun harder against Naomi's head. She flinched but didn't make a sound. So, here's what's going to happen, Jin-hyun continued. You're going to get down on your knees and apologize to my family. Then you're going to announce that you and Soyeon are back together. Then you're going to send this woman, he gestured at Naomi with disgust, back to whatever country she came from. And if I refuse, then I kill her right now while you watch. Min Seok looked at Naomi directly for the first time. Her face was bruised, eyes watering from the head wound, but she met his gaze steadily. Don't, she said quietly. Don't give him anything. Jin-hyun hit her with the gun, hard enough that she fell sideways, catching herself on her bound hands. Min Seok moved instinctively. Made it 3 steps before 2 soldiers grabbed him, forced him back. You have 10 seconds to decide, Jin-hyun said. Your pride or her life. Min Seok's mind raced through options. His men were outside, could breach in maybe 4 minutes now. But Jin-hyun could kill Naomi in half a second. No time, no backup, no choice. I'll do it, Min Seok said. Naomi's eyes went wide. No. I'll apologize, he continued, voice steady despite everything inside him screaming. I'll announce the engagement is back on. I'll send her away. Just let her go first. Jin Hyun considered this. Get on your knees. Min Seok dropped to his knees on the cold concrete. Say it, Jin Hyun ordered. Say you were wrong to humiliate my family. I was wrong to humiliate your family. Say you'll marry my daughter. I'll marry your daughter. Say this woman means nothing to you. Min Seok's throat closed up. Every word tasted like blood and betrayal and surrender. Say it, Jin Hyun screamed. She means nothing to me, Min Seok forced out. The lie burned worse than any bullet wound. Naomi made a sound, broken and furious and utterly destroyed. Jin Hyun smiled triumphantly. There, was that so difficult? Then he lowered the gun from Naomi's head and shot Min Seok in the chest. The impact threw him backward. Pain exploded through his ribcage like fire and shattered glass. He hit the floor hard, couldn't breathe, tasted copper. Somewhere far away, Naomi was screaming. Jin Hyun's voice came distant and distorted. Did you really think I'd let you walk away after humiliating us? You're going to die knowing you gave up everything for nothing, and she's going to die knowing you called her worthless. Min Seok tried to move. Couldn't. His chest felt wrong, wet and heavy and failing. Gunshots erupted from outside. His men breaching early, too late. More gunfire inside the warehouse, soldiers returning fire. Chaos everywhere. Min Seok's vision started going dark around the edges. The last thing he saw before everything went black was Naomi fighting against her restraints, still screaming his name, face wet with tears and blood and absolute rage. Then nothing. Pain came back first, sharp and absolute, radiating from Min Seok's chest like someone had driven a railroad spike through his sternum. Each breath felt like drowning in broken glass. Then sound, gunfire, shouting. The metallic screech of the warehouse door being ripped off its hinges. Then vision, blurry and red-tinged. He was on his back, staring at exposed ceiling beams. Someone was screaming. No, multiple people screaming. The wet sound of bullets hitting flesh, bodies dropping. Min Seok tried to sit up. Failed. His chest wouldn't cooperate. Something warm and sticky spread across his ribs. A face appeared above him. His second-in-command, face splattered with blood that wasn't his own. Boss, don't move! You're hit! Naomi, Min Seok managed. His voice came out as a rasp. We're getting her. Just stay down. More gunfire, closer this time, then sudden silence. The kind that follows violence like an echo. Someone knelt beside him, hands pressing against his chest. The pressure made stars explode behind his eyes. Bulletproof vest caught most of it, a voice said. Medic from his crew. Cracked ribs for sure, maybe internal bleeding. You need a hospital. No hospital, Min Seok forced the words out. Naomi, where? Right here. She appeared in his field of vision, wrists still zip-tied but otherwise mobile. Someone had cut through the plastic restraint halfway. Blood matted her hair on one side, bruises already forming across her jaw. But her eyes looked like murder waiting to happen. You're alive, she said flatly. Disappointed? Min Seok tried to smile, tasted blood instead. Ask me later when I decide whether to kill you myself. Naomi turned to the medic. How bad? Bad enough. The vest saved his life, but the impact trauma... I didn't ask for a medical dissertation. Can he be moved? The medic hesitated. Not recommended. That wasn't the question. Yes, the medic admitted, but then move him. Naomi stood up, looked around the warehouse. Where's Park Jin Hyun? Min Seok's second-in-command appeared, wiping blood from his hands. Dead. Took 3 shots center mass when he tried to kill you during the breach. Good. Naomi's voice carried no emotion. What about his men? 4 dead, 2 wounded. We've got them restrained. Interrogate them. I want to know who else knew about this. Then make them disappear. The second-in-command looked at Min Seok for confirmation. Min Seok nodded slightly, immediately regretted it when pain lanced through his skull. You heard her, he rasped. Do it. His men moved immediately. dragging the wounded soldiers toward the back of the warehouse where their screams wouldn't carry. Naomi knelt back down beside Min Seok, face close enough that he could see the copper flecks in her eyes. "You're an idiot." "Probably." "You walked into an obvious trap." "Yes." "You got down on your knees and begged like they wanted." "I was improvising." "You said I meant nothing to you." Her voice cracked on the last word. Min Seok tried to reach for her hand. His arm wouldn't cooperate. "I lied, obviously." "It didn't feel like a lie when you said it." "Naomi, you got shot because you traded your life for mine like I'm some helpless victim who needs rescuing." Anger bled through her controlled expression. "I had a plan. My security team was tracking my location. I was buying time until they arrived." "You were kneeling on a warehouse floor with a gun to your head," Min Seok pointed out. "And I've been in worse situations." Naomi stood up abruptly. "I survived 9 years without you. Built an empire without you. I don't need you playing hero and getting yourself killed in the process." She walked away before he could respond. The medic returned to examining his chest. "You need actual medical care, not field bandaging." "Then work faster," Min Seok said. 20 minutes later, they had him on his feet, barely. Every movement felt like his ribs were trying to escape through his skin. The medic had wrapped his torso tight enough to restrict breathing, handed him 3 different pill bottles, and delivered a speech about internal bleeding that Min Seok ignored completely. His second-in-command drove him and Naomi back toward the city in tense silence. Naomi stared out the window, jaw tight, saying nothing. Min Seok's phone, recovered from Jin Hyun's body, buzzed continuously. Texts from his mother. Calls from syndicate captains. Emergency meeting requests. He ignored all of them. "Where are we going?" Naomi asked finally. "Safe house," Min Seok said. "In Gangnam. My mother doesn't know about it." "Your mother knows about everything." "Not this. I bought it under a shell company 5 years ago. Never told anyone." Naomi looked at him for the first time since leaving the warehouse. "Why?" "In case I needed somewhere to hide." "From your own family?" "Especially from my own family." The safe house was an unremarkable apartment on the 14th floor of a residential building, the kind of place where nobody asked questions about their neighbors. 2 bedrooms, basic furniture, reinforced door, panic room hidden behind a bookshelf. Min Seok's second-in-command swept the apartment, confirmed it was clean, then looked at them both. "I'll have men stationed downstairs," he said. "Call if you need anything." "We need information," Naomi said. "Find out what Park Jin-hyun told people before tonight. Who knew about the kidnapping? Who might retaliate?" "Already working on it." The man hesitated. "Ms. Carter, your security chief, Sarah Chen, has been trying to contact you. Should I, tell her I'm alive and safe?" "Nothing else." Naomi's expression hardened. "And have your tech people scrub every piece of footage from tonight. I want that warehouse incident to never have existed." "Done." He left, locking the reinforced door behind him. Silence filled the apartment. Min Seok made it 3 steps toward the couch before his legs gave out. He caught himself on the armrest, breathing hard. Naomi was beside him in seconds. "You need to lie down." "I need a drink." "You're on painkillers." "I need a drink," he repeated. She stared at him for a long moment, then walked to the kitchen, returned with a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses. They sat on opposite ends of the couch. Naomi poured. They drank in silence. "Jin-hyun was going to kill us both," Min Seok said finally. "Yes." "Even after I apologized. Even after I agreed to everything. Revenge doesn't care about apologies." Naomi refilled her glass. "He wanted you to suffer before you died, make you give up everything you cared about, then take it anyway. Strategic. Cruel." She drank again. "But effective. You sound like you admire it." Naomi's laugh was bitter. "I understand it. There's a difference." She turned to face him. "When my mother died, I wanted to kill your entire family, burn down the syndicate mansion with everyone inside. I spent 6 months planning it, found schematics, studied guard rotations, learned how to build incendiary devices from online tutorials." Min Seok went very still. "What stopped you?" "I realized if I became a murderer, your mother won. She wanted to destroy the scholarship girl who didn't know her place. If I committed mass murder, I'd prove her right." Naomi's eyes looked distant. So I chose a different revenge. I became someone she couldn't destroy, someone powerful enough to walk back into your world and not flinch. Is that why you're really here? Min Seok asked. For revenge? I don't know anymore. She set down her glass. I thought I did. I thought I had it all planned out. Help you win the contract, make your family dependent on my company, then systematically dismantle everything they built. But then I saw you again, and... She stopped. And what? Min Seok prompted. And you were still wearing the pendant. Her voice broke. 9 years, and you were still wearing the stupid jade dragon like it meant something. It does mean something. It shouldn't. Naomi stood up abruptly, started pacing. We're not those kids anymore, Min Seok. We've both killed people, built empires on morally questionable foundations. We're too damaged for this to work. Maybe damaged people are the only ones who understand each other. She stopped pacing, looked at him with an expression caught between anger and desperation. You almost died tonight because of me. Jin-hyun took me to get to you. Your engagement fell apart because of me. Your relationship with your mother is destroyed because of me. How many more people have to get hurt before you realize I'm poison? You're not poison, Min Seok said. You're just dangerous, complicated, a liability. Naomi's hands clenched into fists. Everything your mother said about me is true. I do run shell companies. I do operate intelligence networks. I have killed people who threaten my business. The admission hung in the air. Singapore, Min Seok said quietly. The car accident. Wasn't an accident. Naomi's voice turned cold. A competitor found out about my real identity. Threatened to expose Lee Yuna unless I gave him controlling interest in my company. So I had his brakes tampered with on a mountainous road. You're telling me this why? Because you need to know who you're protecting. She moved closer. I'm not some innocent victim. I'm exactly as ruthless as you are. Maybe more so because I hide it behind tech CEO press conferences and humanitarian speeches. Min Seok studied her carefully. You think this changes how I feel about you? It should. It doesn't. He stood up slowly, every movement sending pain through his chest. I killed my first person when I was 18. My uncle's enforcer. He was beating information out of a kid who stole from the wrong people. I shot him in the head because he wouldn't stop. He moved closer to Naomi. I've tortured people for profit, he continued. Ordered executions over business disputes. Built an empire on fear and violence and blood. So if you think admitting you're ruthless is going to scare me away, you're severely underestimating how much darkness I've already lived with. Naomi's eyes glistened. Then we're both monsters. Probably. Min Seok reached out, tucked a strand of blood-matted hair behind her ear. But at least we're monsters together. She kissed him, hard and desperate, and tasting like whiskey and trauma. Min Seok pulled her closer despite his broken ribs screaming in protest. They broke apart, breathing hard. This is still a terrible idea, Naomi whispered against his mouth. The worst, Min Seok agreed. His phone buzzed. Both of them ignored it. It buzzed again. Then again. Continuous vibration that wouldn't stop. Min Seok pulled it out reluctantly. 23 missed calls, 15 texts, all from his mother. The most recent text simply read, "We need to talk, now, before you make another catastrophic mistake." She knows, Naomi said. Of course she knows. Min Seok deleted the messages. She probably had people watching the warehouse. What will she do? Try to separate us, threaten you, threaten me, apply whatever leverage she thinks will work. Will it work? Min Seok looked at her directly. No. His phone rang. His mother. He answered on speaker. Where are you? She demanded. Safe house. With her? Yes. Park Jin-hyun is dead. His daughter is hysterical. The Park family is mobilizing for war, and you're hiding in a safe house with the woman who started this entire disaster. His mother's voice turned icy. Get to the mansion immediately. We have damage control to discuss. No. Silence on the other end. Excuse me? His mother said finally. I said no. I'm not coming to the mansion. I'm not discussing damage control. I'm not apologizing to the Park family or sacrificing Naomi to fix your alliance. Min Seok, I'm done, he interrupted. Done with strategic marriages. Done with alliances built on obligation. Done with letting you control who I care about. You sound like a petulant child. I sound like someone who finally figured out what's worth fighting for. His mother's laugh was sharp. And what is that? Love? You think love will protect you when rival families come for your territory? When your own captains question your leadership? When the Seoul metropolitan government realizes the boss of the Black Viper Syndicate is compromised by his childhood sweetheart? I think love is the only thing that's kept me from becoming exactly like father, Min Seok said quietly. A paranoid tyrant who died alone and hated by everyone who knew him. The silence stretched long enough that he thought she'd hung up. You want to choose her? His mother said finally. Fine, but understand the cost. The Park family will retaliate. Your position in the syndicate will become unstable. Every enemy you've made over the years will see this as weakness and attack. Let them. You can't fight the entire underworld simultaneously. Watch me. Min Seok. His mother's voice changed, something almost vulnerable beneath the steel. I'm trying to protect you. That's all I've ever tried to do. You're trying to control me, Min Seok corrected. There's a difference. He hung up. Naomi stared at him. You just declared war on your own family. Yes. They'll come after both of us. I know. We might not survive this. Probably not. Min Seok pulled her close again despite his ribs protesting. But at least we'll go down fighting for something real instead of dying for strategic alliances that mean nothing. His phone buzzed again, text from his second-in-command. Urgent. You need to see this. Attached was a photo. Security footage from the warehouse. Timestamp from 2 hours before Jin Hyun's attack. The image showed Jin Hyun meeting with someone in the warehouse shadows. The angle wasn't great, but the face was visible enough. Min Taekwon, the syndicate's head of cybersecurity. Min Seok's blood went cold. What is it? Naomi asked. He showed her the photo. Her expression hardened. That's the man who runs your technology division. Yes? The same division that had the security leak. Yes. Min Seok. Naomi's voice turned careful. What if the leak wasn't about corporate espionage? What if it was about giving Jin Hyun ammunition to destroy you? The pieces clicked together like a gun being loaded. Taekwon had access to every syndicate system. He would have known about the government contract, known about the leak, known exactly how to make the Black Viper Technology Division vulnerable enough that Min Seok would need outside help. He would have known when Naomi arrived in Seoul, would have known about their history once his mother started investigating, would have known that bringing them back together would create chaos. It's a setup, Min Seok said slowly. The entire thing. The leak, the contract crisis. Everything designed to make me vulnerable. But why? Naomi demanded. What does Taekwon gain from... Min Seok's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Hello, Boss Kang. Taekwon's voice. Calm and professional as always. I see you're putting the pieces together. Took you longer than I expected, honestly. Where are you? Somewhere safe. Unlike you. Taekwon laughed softly. Did you really think your mother was the only one who wanted you gone? You killed your way to the top, Min Seok. Made enemies of everyone you didn't make afraid. I've been planning this for 3 years. Planning what exactly? Your destruction. Taekwon's voice turned cold. The leak was real. The contract crisis was real. But I'm the one who created both. I sold your secrets to Golden Dragon. I made sure the government started questioning your capabilities. Then I waited for you to do exactly what I knew you'd do. Bring in outside help. You wanted me to partner with Naomi, Min Seok said. I wanted you to become obsessed with her again, Taekwon corrected. I've read the psychological profiles, watched you self-destruct over lesser women. I knew if Lee Yuna came back, you'd lose all objectivity. Naomi grabbed the phone. Who are you working for? Myself, primarily, though I have some very interested buyers lined up for Black Viper's territory once your boyfriend is dead. Taekwon paused. Oh, you should probably turn on the news. Channel 7. There's something you'll want to see. The line went dead. Naomi grabbed the TV remote, flipped to Channel 7. Breaking news. Footage of the warehouse. Bodies being carried out. Police everywhere. Multiple casualties in what authorities are calling a gang war between the Black Viper Syndicate and the Park Family Organization, the news anchor said. Seoul police have issued warrants for Kang Min-seok and identified American Tech CEO Naomi Carter as a person of interest in the violence. Naomi's face appeared on screen. Corporate headshot beside crime scene photos. Sources suggest Ms. Carter may have connections to organized crime dating back years. American authorities have been contacted regarding possible extradition. Min-seok turned off the TV. They stood in silence. He leaked everything, Naomi said quietly. The warehouse footage, our names, my real identity. Yes. The police will be looking for both of us. Yes. My company is finished. The moment this hits international news, every contract I have will be canceled. Investors will pull out. Everything I built, her voice broke. Gone. Min-seok's phone buzzed. Text from his second-in-command. Boss, we have a problem. Half the syndicate captains just called emergency meeting. They're voting on your leadership. They want you out. Another text. Your mother is backing the vote. Another, I'm sorry. I tried to stop them. Min-seok set down the phone carefully. My organization is staging a coup, he said. My mother is supporting it. Taekwon has destroyed both our reputations. The police want us for multiple murders. Rival families will be coming for territory. He looked at Naomi. We have maybe 6 hours before this apartment gets raided, he continued. Maybe less if Taekwon already gave them the address. So what do we do? Naomi asked. Min-seok moved to the window, looked out over Seoul's glittering skyline. Somewhere in that city, his empire was crumbling. His mother was betraying him. Every alliance he'd built was turning to ash. And the only person left standing beside him was the one his mother had warned him would be his destruction. We run, he said finally. Run where? Anywhere that's not here. Min-seok turned back to face her. We take whatever cash I have stashed. Get out of Korea before the airport's locked down. Disappear completely. You're talking about abandoning everything, Naomi said. Your syndicate, your position, your entire life. My entire life just voted to remove me from power, Min-seok pointed out. There's nothing left to abandon. What about revenge? What about fighting back? Against who? Taekwon is already gone. My mother has the syndicate. The Park family wants me dead. The police want us both. He moved closer to her. We can't fight them all simultaneously. We'd die trying. So we just let them win? We survive, Min-seok said. We disappear. We build new lives somewhere they can't find us. Then maybe someday we figure out how to fight back from a position that's not absolutely suicidal. Naomi stared at him. You're serious? Completely? You'd walk away from everything you've built? I already lost it, Min-seok said quietly. The moment I chose you over the syndicate, this ending became inevitable. I just didn't want to admit it until now. His phone buzzed again. Text from his mother. Last chance, Min-seok. Come to the mansion. Renounce her. I can fix this. We can blame everything on the Park family and rebuild. He showed Naomi the message. She's offering you a way out, Naomi said. She's offering me a leash. If you stay with me, you lose everything. I already did. Min-seok cupped her face gently. The only question is whether we lose together or separately. Naomi's eyes filled with tears. I destroy everything I touch. Then we'll destroy each other and see what's left standing. She kissed him, soft and desperate and tasting like goodbye. They broke apart, breathing hard. How much cash do you have here? Naomi asked. About $40,000. Enough to get us out of the country and disappear for a few months. I have offshore accounts. If we can access them, we can't risk digital transactions. They'll track us immediately. Then we travel light and figure it out as we go. Min-seok pulled out a duffel bag from the bedroom closet. Started packing. Cash. Fake passports he'd had made years ago. Burner phones. Basic clothes. Naomi made calls to her security team, arranging dead drops, backup identities, emergency extraction protocols. They worked in synchronized silence. 30 minutes later, they were ready. Min-seok looked around the safe house one last time. This anonymous apartment that represented his last toehold in Seoul, his last connection to the empire he'd built. You okay? Naomi asked. No, he admitted. But I will be. They headed for the door. Min Seok's phone rang one final time. His mother. He answered, put it on speaker so Naomi could hear. You're leaving, his mother said. Not a question. Yes. You'll be hunted by us, by the Park family, by every organization that sees your weakness as an opportunity. I know. You'll spend the rest of your life running. Better than spending it controlled by you. Silence. I loved you, his mother said finally. Her voice cracked slightly. Everything I did was to protect you, to make you strong enough to survive this world. You made me strong enough to survive everything except being human, Min Seok said. Goodbye, mother. He hung up. Turned off the phone completely. Looked at Naomi. Ready? She asked. No, Min Seok said. But let's go anyway. They walked out of the apartment together into a future that promised nothing except survival and each other. Behind them, Seoul glittered like a city on fire. Ahead of them stretched only darkness and uncertainty, and the slim possibility that love might be worth losing an empire for. Min Seok's hand found Naomi's as they descended the stairs. She squeezed back, hard enough to hurt. Neither of them let go. Because some people were worth burning the world down for, and some were worth watching it burn while you ran. They just had to figure out which one they were before the flames caught up. Bullshit. The ferry to Busan left in 40 minutes. Min Seok and Naomi stood in the terminal bathroom, changing clothes, applying basic disguises. She wore a wig, shoulder-length black hair instead of her usual style. He wore glasses and a baseball cap pulled low. Tourist couple. Unremarkable. Invisible. After Busan, then what? Naomi asked quietly. Boat to Japan, then probably Southeast Asia, Thailand or Vietnam, somewhere we can disappear into expatriate communities. You've thought about this before. I've thought about running since I was 17, Min Seok admitted. Just never had a reason worth the risk. They emerged from the bathroom, joined the crowd of late-night travelers. Nobody looked twice at them. The ferry boarding announcement came over the speakers. They were halfway to the gangplank when Naomi's burner phone buzzed. Text from Sarah Chen. Need to tell you something about the hack on your servers. Found something in the code. Naomi stopped walking. Opened the attachment. Lines of code filled the screen. Technical language Min Seok didn't understand, but Naomi understood. Her face went white. What is it? He asked. The hack on my servers, she said slowly. The one that accessed my location data. It didn't come from Korean intelligence or from Taekwon. Then who? It came from inside my own company. Naomi's hands shook. From Sarah Chen's personal server. The world tilted. Your head of security betrayed you, Min Seok said. No. Naomi's voice turned hollow. Sarah didn't betray me. She's been working with your mother the entire time. She pulled up another file. Email chain between Shra and someone using an encrypted address. Months of correspondence, plans, strategies. The most recent email was timestamped yesterday. Subject secured, Kang will come. Proceed as discussed. Your mother hired my head of security, Naomi whispered. Before I even came back to Seoul. She's been controlling everything from the beginning. Min Seok felt cold spreading through his chest. The hack that made you leave the hotel. Sarah sent you into Jin Hyun's trap. She knew about the warehouse, knew Jin Hyun was waiting. She made sure I went there alone. Naomi looked up at him. Your mother didn't just want to separate us. She wanted us both gone. You'd be killed by Jin Hyun. I'd be arrested for your murder. Problem solved. But I survived, which is why she's now backing the syndicate coup. If she can't kill you directly, she'll destroy everything you have and force you to run. Naomi's expression turned distant. We're not escaping, Min Seok. We're doing exactly what she wants. The ferry horn blared. Final boarding call. Min Seok stared at the gangplank. At freedom. At survival. At the careful trap his mother had laid months ago. If we run, she wins, he said quietly. If we stay, we die. Maybe? Min Seok turned away from the ferry. Or maybe we're done playing her game. What are you talking about? She thinks she knows me. Thinks I'll choose survival over pride. Thinks I'll run instead of fight. He pulled out his phone, the one he'd turned off, powered it back on. She's wrong. Min Seok, I'm not running anymore. He pulled up his mother's number. I'm going back. I'm exposing Taekwon. I'm proving the coup is built on lies, and I'm taking back my syndicate. That's suicide. Probably. He looked at her directly. You should get on that ferry, disappear. You can still save your company if you distance yourself from me completely. Naomi stared at him for a long moment. Then she grabbed her own phone, started typing. What are you doing? Min Seok asked. Calling my lawyers? If we're going down fighting. She hit send. I'm not leaving you to face this alone. Naomi, shut up. She grabbed his hand. You chose me over an empire. The least I can do is help you burn down the people who took it. The ferry horn blared one final time, then pulled away from the dock, heading toward Busan without them. Min Seok and Naomi stood on the terminal platform watching it disappear into the night. We're insane, he said. Completely, she agreed. We're probably going to die. Most likely. Any regrets? Naomi looked at him, really looked at him, the way she used to when they were teenagers, too stupid to understand how cruel the world could be. Only that we didn't do this 9 years ago, she said. Then she pulled him into a kiss that tasted like defiance and desperation and the absolute certainty that some battles were worth losing everything for. Behind them, Seoul waited like a dragon preparing to devour them both. Ahead lay only war and truth and the slim possibility that love could survive when empires burned. They broke apart, turned back toward the city, and walked directly into the fire. The Syndicate mansion looked exactly the same as the night Naomi left 9 years ago. White stone walls rising 3 stories above manicured gardens. Security cameras tracking every angle. Guards stationed at intervals precise enough to suggest military training rather than street thugs playing dress-up. Min Seok and Naomi sat in a stolen car 2 blocks away, watching the compound through binoculars as dawn started breaking across Seoul's skyline. Last chance to reconsider, Naomi said. You keep saying that. Min Seok lowered the binoculars. Starting to think you're the one reconsidering. I'm terrified, she admitted. There's a difference. His phone buzzed. Text from his second-in-command. Meeting starts in 20 minutes. Every captain will be there. Your mother is calling for a formal vote to remove you as boss. Another text. I've got 3 men loyal to you inside. It's not enough. Min Seok typed back. It will be. Get ready. He turned to Naomi. You remember the plan? I walk through the front door. Demand to speak with your mother about the contract. Create enough chaos that you can slip in through the service entrance. She checked her own phone. My lawyers are already filing injunctions against the news coverage. Won't stop the story, but it'll slow it down. What about Sarah Chen? Naomi's expression turned cold. I sent her coordinates to a warehouse meeting. She thinks I'm desperate to negotiate. What she'll find is 8 very angry members of my security team who don't appreciate traitors. Will they kill her? Eventually. Naomi's voice carried no emotion. After she tells them everything about her arrangement with your mother. Min Seok studied her face. You've changed. I had to. She met his eyes. The girl who left Seoul 9 years ago would have forgiven her, would have tried to understand her motivations. That girl got people killed. And the woman you are now doesn't make the same mistake twice. They sat in silence watching the mansion guards change shifts. When this is over, Min Seok said quietly, assuming we survive. What then? I don't know. Naomi's fingers drummed against her knee, nervous habit she'd never lost. I can't go back to my old life. Company's reputation is destroyed. Every government contract will be canceled. Investors are already calling for my resignation. You could start over. Different name, different company. I'm tired of starting over. She turned to face him. I've been running and rebuilding for 9 years. I just want to stop. Stop and do what? I don't know, she repeated. Something that doesn't require lying about who I am. Something where I don't have to check over my shoulder constantly wondering when the past will catch up. Min Seok's phone buzzed. Text from his mother. I know you're back in Seoul. Come home. We can still fix this. He showed Naomi the message. She's trying to sound reasonable, Naomi observed. She's trying to control the situation. Min Seok deleted the text. She does this. Acts maternal right before she destroys you completely. How long have you known she was behind everything? I didn't. Not until you found those emails. He leaned back against the seat. But it makes sense. The timing was too perfect. Taekwon getting access. Jinhyun knowing exactly when to attack. Sarah betraying you at the precise moment that would cause maximum damage. Your mother orchestrated all of it. She's been orchestrating my entire life, Min Seok said bitterly. Why would this be different? Another text from his second-in-command. Meeting, starting in 10 minutes. You need to move now. Min Seok checked his gun. Full magazine. Safety off. He tucked it into his waistband, pulled his jacket over it. Naomi was doing the same with a smaller pistol she'd acquired from somewhere. He didn't ask where. You know how to use that? He asked. I learned 3 years ago after Singapore. She checked the chamber. Turns out killing someone with a car accident is messy and unreliable. Guns are more efficient. How many people have you killed? Does it matter? No. Min Seok opened the car door. Just curious who I'm going to war with. Someone just as damaged as you are. Naomi stepped out. Let's go. They walked toward the mansion from opposite directions, Naomi heading straight for the front gate. Min Seok circling around toward the service entrance where kitchen staff and maintenance workers entered. He watched through the trees as Naomi approached the main gate. Guards stepped forward immediately, hands on their weapons. She said something, probably her name, probably demanding to speak with his mother. The guards hesitated, talked into their radios. Min Seok used the distraction to slip through the service entrance. The lock was electronic, same code it had been for years because his mother never thought anyone would be stupid enough to break into the mansion. Inside smelled like expensive cleaning products and old money. The kitchen was empty. Early morning, most staff wouldn't arrive for another hour. He moved quickly through familiar hallways, staying low, avoiding the security cameras he'd memorized years ago. The meeting room was on the second floor. Private conference space where major syndicate decisions happened away from regular business operations. Min Seok took the back stairs, heard voices as he approached. Cannot continue supporting a boss who makes decisions based on emotion rather than strategy. That was Captain Kim, head of the gambling operations. Always hated Min Seok for being too young. The Park family is mobilizing, another voice added. Captain Choi. Money laundering. We're looking at full-scale war because Min Seok couldn't keep his personal life separate from business. Enough! His mother's voice cut through the discussion. We're not here to debate his failures. We're here to vote on new leadership. Min Seok pressed himself against the wall outside the door, counted voices. 7 captains, his mother, 2 guards. His second-in-command texted, "Ready when you are." Min Seok took a breath, pushed open the door. Every head turned. His mother sat at the head of the conference table, perfectly composed in a white suit that probably cost more than most people's cars. The 7 captains arranged around her looked varying degrees of hostile and surprised. "Hello, Mother," Min Seok said calmly. "I hear you're having a meeting about me." 2 guards moved immediately. Min Seok had his gun out faster. "I wouldn't," he said quietly. They froze. His mother's expression didn't change. "You're interrupting syndicate business." "I'm attending syndicate business." Min Seok walked into the room, gun still trained on the guards. "Since apparently my position as boss is being discussed without me present." "You lost the right to be present when you chose a foreign tech CEO over family loyalty," Captain Kim said. "Funny." Min Seok turned to face him. "I don't remember you caring about family loyalty when you were skimming 15% off gambling profits for the past 2 years. Kim went pale. "That's a lie." "I have the financial records." Min Seok pulled out his phone with his free hand, tossed it onto the table. "Along with proof that Captain Choi has been running an unauthorized money laundering operation through shell companies in the Cayman Islands. And Captain Min," he looked at the construction chief, "has been selling syndicate weapons to rival gangs." Silence exploded through the room. "Where did you get that information?" his mother asked carefully. "From Naomi Carter's intelligence network." Min Seok smiled without humor. "Turns out having a tech CEO with global surveillance capabilities is useful. She's been investigating all of you for the past week." "This is..." Captain Choi stood up. "You're making this up." "Sit down," Min Seok ordered. Choi sat. Now. Min Seok looked around the table. We're going to discuss what actually happened, starting with Min Taekwon. He pulled up security footage on the conference room screen. The image from the warehouse, Taekwon meeting with Jin Hyun. Taekwon has been systematically sabotaging our technology division for 3 years, Min Seok said. He created the security leak. He sold our secrets to Golden Dragon Industries. He coordinated with Park Jin Hyun to kidnap Naomi Carter and use her as bait to kill me. The captains exchanged glances. That's a serious accusation, his mother said. It's the truth. Min Seok pulled up more files. Email chains, financial transactions. Taekwon was trying to destabilize my leadership, so you, he looked at his mother, could install someone more controllable. I had nothing to do with Taekwon's actions, his mother said smoothly. Really? Min Seok pulled up another file. Because I have bank records showing payments from your personal accounts to Taekwon over the past 18 months, exactly the time frame when our technology problems started. His mother's expression finally cracked. Just slightly. Just enough. You paid him to sabotage me, Min Seok continued. You orchestrated everything, the leak, the contract crisis, even hiring Sarah Chen to spy on Naomi. The door burst open. Naomi walked in flanked by 2 of Min Seok's loyal guards. She looked disheveled, hair messy, bruise on her jaw from where the front gate guards had gotten rough before being subdued. But her eyes looked lethal. Sarah Chen confessed, she announced to the room. I have a full recording of her admitting she's been working for Mrs. Kang since before I arrived in Seoul. She was paid to monitor my movements, sabotage my security systems, and deliver me to Park Jin Hyun. She dropped a phone on the conference table. Pressed play. Sarah's voice filled the room. Mrs. Kang hired me 8 months ago. She wanted complete surveillance on Naomi Carter. When Ms. Carter decided to come to Seoul, Mrs. Kang told me to make sure she and Min Seok would be isolated and vulnerable. I hacked the servers to force Ms. Carter out of the hotel. I gave her location to Park Jin Hyun. Everything was coordinated. Min Seok's mother stood up abruptly. That recording is inadmissible. This isn't a courtroom, Min Seok interrupted. This is a syndicate meeting, and you just got caught trying to kill your own son. The captains looked at each other, at his mother, at Min Seok. Captain Kim cleared his throat. If this is true, it's not true, Min Seok's mother said sharply. This is obviously a fabrication. My son and his companion are trying to deflect from their own failures. Then explain the bank transfers, Naomi said coldly. Explain the emails between you and Sarah Chen. Explain how Taekwon got access to classified systems without authorization. I don't have to explain anything to you, his mother snapped. You're not even part of this organization. But I am. Min Seok moved to stand beside Naomi. And I'm still the boss of this syndicate, which means I'm calling for a vote right now. On what? Captain Choi asked. On whether my mother stays in this organization at all. Min Seok looked around the table. She tried to have me killed. Tried to frame Naomi for multiple crimes. Deliberately sabotaged our technology division to make us vulnerable. That's treason by any definition. His mother laughed, sharp and bitter. You're going to exile your own mother? You exiled the woman I loved 9 years ago, Min Seok said quietly. Seems fair. The silence felt like standing in an empty cathedral. His second-in-command spoke up from the doorway. I vote to remove Mrs. Kang from the syndicate. One of the loyal guards nodded. Same. Captain Kim hesitated. Then, if the evidence is real, it's real, Naomi said. She pulled up more files on her own phone. I have 18 months of financial records, encrypted communications, Sarah Chen's full confession including names, dates, and specific instructions from Mrs. Kang. Kim looked at the evidence. His face went carefully blank. I vote to remove Mrs. Kang. This is insane, his mother started. I vote to remove her, Captain Choi added. Captain Min? The construction chief stared at his hands. She's been in this organization for 30 years. And she used that time to try murdering her own son, Min Seok said. Vote. Remove her, Min said finally. One by one, the remaining captains voted. Some reluctantly. Some with visible relief like they'd been waiting for this moment for years. Final count. Unanimous removal. Min Seok's mother stood very still, hands clenched at her sides. "You're making a catastrophic mistake," she said quietly. "Probably." Min Seok nodded to the guards. "Escort her out. She has 24 hours to leave Seoul. After that, she's considered hostile." Min Seok, "Goodbye, Mother." The guards moved forward. His mother pulled away from their reach, straightened her jacket with sharp, precise movements. "You think you've won," she said. "You think exposing me fixes everything, but you're wrong." "I'm sure you'll explain why," Min Seok said tiredly. "The Park family doesn't care about evidence or truth." His mother's voice turned icy. "They know Park Jin-hyun died in your warehouse. They know you killed him, and they're coming for blood. Let them come. They have allies you don't know about, resources you can't match. You've made yourself weak by choosing her." She gestured at Naomi. "And now everyone can see it." "Then I'll fight them weak." His mother laughed. "You'll die weak." She walked toward the door, paused beside Naomi. "You destroyed him," she said quietly. "Just like I knew you would. I hope it was worth it." Naomi met her eyes directly. "It was." His mother left without another word. The conference room fell silent except for breathing and the quiet hum of air conditioning. "Well," Captain Kim said finally, "this has been the most interesting syndicate meeting in 20 years. "What happens now?" Captain Choi asked. Min Seok moved to his mother's seat at the head of the table, sat down carefully despite his ribs still screaming from Jin-hyun's bullet. "Now we prepare for war," he said. "The Park family will retaliate, probably within days. We need to secure our territory, fortify our positions, and make it clear that anyone who attacks us will face the full force of the Black Viper Syndicate. And Ms. Carter," Captain Min gestured at Naomi, "becomes our technology partner officially." Min Seok looked at her. Assuming she still wants the contract, Naomi moved to stand beside his chair. "I want the contract, and full access to your security infrastructure. If we're going to war, I'm not sitting on the sidelines." The captains exchanged glances. "She's a liability," Kim started. "She's the reason you're not being investigated for embezzlement right now," Min Seok interrupted. "She has intelligence capabilities we need. She has technical expertise we're lacking, and she has my complete trust. Anyone who has a problem with that can leave." Nobody moved. "Good." Min Seok stood up slowly. "Captain Kim, I want a full audit of our gambling operations. You have 1 week to return the money you stole, or I'll consider it theft and handle it accordingly." Kim nodded shakily. "Captain Choi, shut down the unauthorized Cayman accounts. Transfer everything back to official syndicate channels." "Yes, boss." "Captain Min, the weapons sales stop immediately. Understood?" "Understood." Min Seok looked around the table. "The last few days have been chaos. My mother tried to destroy us from the inside. Taekwon betrayed us. Park Jin-hyun attacked us. But we're still standing, and we're going to keep standing." He placed his hand on the table, palm down, fingers spread. One by one, the captains did the same. Traditional syndicate gesture of loyalty. Even the ones who clearly hated him, even the ones who thought he was making catastrophic mistakes. Because at the end of the day, they understood one truth. A damaged boss was still better than no boss at all. The meeting dispersed slowly, captains filing out with their guards, already making phone calls to secure their territories. Min Seok and Naomi stood alone in the conference room. "That went better than expected," Naomi said. "They're terrified," Min Seok corrected. "Terrified of me, terrified of the Park family, terrified of what happens next." "Are you terrified?" "Absolutely." He pulled her close despite his broken ribs protesting. "But less terrified with you here." She leaned into him. They stood like that for a long moment. Two people who'd burned down their entire lives and somehow found each other in the ashes. Min Seok's phone buzzed. Text from his second-in-command. "Park family just issued formal declaration of war. They're coming for territory starting tonight." Another text. "We have maybe 6 hours to prepare." He showed Naomi the messages. 6 hours, she said quietly. "Yes." "Can we win?" "I don't know." Min Seok pulled away, started making calls. "But we're going to try." The war started at midnight. 3 Park family strike teams hit Black Viper gambling operations simultaneously across Seoul. Molotov cocktails through windows, gunfire tearing through slot machines and poker tables, civilians screaming. Min Seok watched the reports come in from his office, the same office where his father used to plan territorial expansions while drinking himself unconscious. Casualties? He asked. 4 of our people wounded, no deaths yet. His second-in-command pointed to a map covered in red markers. They're targeting soft locations, places with minimal security, trying to make us look weak. Where's their main force? Unknown. These are just harassment attacks. Naomi stood at the window, phone pressed to her ear. I need satellite imaging over Gangnam District, every building the Park family owns. Yes, I'm aware it's technically illegal. Do it anyway. She hung up. My tech team is accessing commercial satellite feeds. We'll have real-time surveillance in 20 minutes. That's illegal surveillance, Captain Kim pointed out. He'd been hovering around the office since the attacks started, probably trying to prove loyalty after getting caught stealing. So is murder, Naomi said without looking at him. We're way past legal. Min Seok's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. What? Boss Kang. Female voice. Young. Scared. This is Lee Mina. I work at the Golden Tiger Casino. Park family soldiers just walked in. They're asking where you are. They have guns. Gunfire crackled through the phone, screaming. Then a different voice, male, cold. Kang Min Seok, you killed Park Jin-hyun, so we're going to kill everyone you care about, starting with your employees, then your captains, then your woman. The line went dead. Min Seok stood very still. What happened? Naomi asked. They just massacred the Golden Tiger Casino. His voice came out flat. Killed everyone inside. The office fell silent. How many people? His second-in-command asked quietly. 30, maybe more. Min Seok pulled up security footage from the casino, watched it happen in real time. Park family soldiers executing dealers, servers, security guards. Execution style. No hesitation. Naomi moved to his side, watched the footage. Her expression went cold. They're not trying to win territory, she said. They're trying to provoke you into making mistakes. It's working. Min Seok felt rage building in his chest, hot and absolute. I'm going to kill every single one of them. That's what they want. You attacking emotional instead of strategic. I don't care what they want. Yes, you do. Naomi grabbed his face, forced him to look at her. Because if you go in there guns blazing, you'll die. Your people will die, and the Park family will take everything. So what do you suggest? We hit them where it hurts. She turned to the tech equipment she'd set up in the corner. I've been tracking their communications since the attack started. Park family is coordinating from their main compound in Gangnam. She pulled up intercepted messages on the screen. They're planning a major strike tomorrow night, Naomi continued. This warehouse where your syndicate stores shipments. They're going to bomb it and blame you for the civilian casualties when it explodes. Min Seok studied the intelligence. How did you get this? I hacked their encrypted channels an hour ago. Naomi's smile was sharp. Turns out military-grade AI surveillance is useful. That's the warehouse where we keep legitimate inventory, Captain Kim said. Medical supplies for our front businesses. If they destroy it, we lose millions in assets and look incompetent, Min Seok finished. They're trying to destroy us financially and reputationally simultaneously. So we set a trap, Naomi said. Let them think the warehouse is vulnerable. Evacuate everything valuable, then turn it into a kill box when they arrive. His second-in-command nodded slowly. We could wire the place with explosives, position snipers on surrounding buildings. Wait until they're inside then. Burn them alive, Min Seok finished. It's brutal, Captain Kim said. The Park family will retaliate harder. They're already retaliating as hard as possible, Min Seok pointed out. They massacred 30 people tonight. We respond with equivalent force or we look weak. He looked around the room, his captains, his guards. Naomi standing beside him like she'd always belonged there. We're going to war, he said quietly. Real war. Not the political maneuvering we usually do. Actual violence. People are going to die. Probably some of us. Nobody spoke. Anyone who wants out can leave now, Min Seok continued. No judgment, no consequences. Just walk away. Nobody moved. All right then. He turned to his second-in-command. Start evacuating the warehouse. I want it completely empty by noon tomorrow, then wire it with enough explosives to level the building. What about civilian casualties, the surrounding area, Seb? Evacuate a 3-block radius, make up a gas leak story. Get everyone out. Min Seok started making lists. Position snipers here, here, and here, he marked the map, with clear sight lines to all entrances. When the Park family arrives, we let them get inside. Then we detonate. Naomi added to the plan. I can provide thermal imaging to track their positions, and drone surveillance to make sure we don't miss anyone escaping. How many people are you expecting? Captain Kim asked. Based on their past operations? Min Seok studied intelligence reports. Probably 20 to 30 soldiers, maybe more if they think it's a major target. We'll be killing them all. Yes. Min Seok met Kim's eyes directly. Problem? No. Kim looked away. Just making sure we're all clear on what we're doing. We're surviving, Min Seok said. By any means necessary. They worked through the night, moving inventory, planting explosives, positioning snipers. Naomi coordinated surveillance equipment while simultaneously managing her company's public relations disaster via emergency calls to lawyers and investors. By dawn, everything was ready. The warehouse sat empty, wired to explode on Min Seok's signal. Snipers in position on 3 surrounding buildings. Drone hovering overhead feeding thermal imaging to Naomi's laptop. Min Seok stood on a rooftop across the street, watching through binoculars. Naomi beside him, laptop balanced on a ventilation unit. They're moving, she said, pointing to thermal signatures on her screen. Convoy of 3 vehicles approaching from the east. Min Seok watched the street below. Black vans, Park family colors. They pulled up to the warehouse loading dock. Soldiers piled out, counted 23, all armed with automatic weapons. Wait for it, Min Seok said into his radio. The soldiers breached the warehouse, moved inside cautiously, checking corners, securing rooms. Naomi's laptop showed them spreading throughout the building. They're planting their own explosives, she observed, planning to make it look like an accident. Let them. Min Seok watched the thermal signatures cluster in the warehouse center. Everyone in position? His second-in-command's voice crackled through the radio. Affirmative, snipers ready, detonator ready, waiting on your signal. Min Seok counted to 10. Made sure every Park family soldier was deep inside the warehouse. Then he gave the order. Light it up. The explosion tore through Seoul's pre-dawn silence like the end of the world. Fire erupted from every window. The warehouse roof blew outward. Debris rained across the street. Secondary explosions followed. The Park family's own bombs detonating from the heat. The entire building collapsed in on itself within 30 seconds. Nobody walked out. Min Seok lowered his binoculars. Beside him, Naomi was very quiet. You okay? He asked. I just helped murder 23 people, she said. They would have killed you tomorrow. I know. Her hands shook slightly. Doesn't make it feel less horrifying. Min Seok pulled her close. They stood on the rooftop watching the warehouse burn while sirens wailed in the distance. This is who we are now, he said quietly. This is what survival costs. I know, Naomi repeated. His phone rang. He answered. A voice he didn't recognize, older, authoritative. Kang Min Seok. This is Park Taewon, Jin Yoon's father, head of the Park family. Min Seok's blood went cold. What do you want? I want to meet. Tomorrow. Neutral territory. Just you and me. So, you can kill me? So we can end this before Seoul turns into a war zone. Park Taewon's voice carried weight. You killed my son. I killed your people. We're even. But if this continues, we both lose everything. I'm listening. Han River Park. South entrance. 2 p.m. tomorrow. Come alone. I'll do the same. Pause. Or we can keep killing each other until there's nothing left. Your choice. The line went dead. Min Seok stood holding the phone. That was Park Taewon, Naomi said. Not a question. Yes. He wants to meet. Yes. It's obviously a trap. Probably. Min Seok looked at her. But maybe it's also a way out. You're actually considering it. We can't sustain this war. He gestured at the burning warehouse. Tonight we killed 23 people. Tomorrow they'll kill more of ours. Next week someone bombs a civilian building. This escalates until the government steps in and destroys us both. So you meet with him and what? Negotiate peace? I try. Min Seok's jaw tightened. Or I die trying. I'm coming with you, Naomi said immediately. He said, come alone, so I don't care what he said. You're not walking into that meeting without backup. Naomi, don't. She grabbed his arm. You've almost died twice in the past week. I'm not letting it happen again. They stared at each other. Finally, Min Seok nodded. Fine, but you stay in the car with the sniper team. If anything goes wrong, I'll burn down the entire park, Naomi finished. He almost smiled. You're terrifying. I learned from the best. They stood on the rooftop as dawn broke across Seoul, the warehouse still burning below them, and somewhere in the distance, sirens converging on yet another crime scene that would never quite get solved. Tomorrow they would meet Park Taewon. Tomorrow they would either find peace or start a war that would consume everything. Tonight they just held each other and tried to remember what it felt like before their hands were covered in blood. Han River Park looked peaceful at 2 in the afternoon. Families walked along the pathways. Couples sat on benches watching boats drift across the water. Children chased each other through grass still damp from morning rain. Nobody knew that 2 of Seoul's most dangerous men were about to meet 50 meters from the playground. Min Seok arrived early. He sat alone on a bench facing the river, hands folded in his lap, gun pressed against his spine beneath his jacket. His ribs still ached from Jin Hyun's bullet. Every breath felt like swallowing glass, but he kept his expression calm, controlled, the face he wore when negotiating with people who'd kill him if they sensed weakness. Naomi was parked 300 meters away, with a sniper team positioned on a nearby office building. One word from him and they'd turn the park into a war zone. He hoped it wouldn't come to that. At exactly 2 p.m., Park Taewon walked down the path alone. He was older than Min Seok expected, maybe 60. Gray hair cropped military short, wearing a simple black suit that probably cost less than Min Seok's shoes. His face carried the kind of hardness that came from decades of violence, but his eyes looked tired. Taewon sat down on the opposite end of the bench. For a long moment, neither spoke. Just 2 men watching the river flow past like time itself was bleeding out. You look like your father, Taewon said finally. I'll try not to take that as an insult, Min Seok replied. It wasn't meant as one. Your father and I were friends once, long time ago, before the syndicates, before all this. He gestured vaguely at the city. We grew up in the same neighborhood, stole food from the same markets, survived the same poverty. I didn't know that. Why would you? Taewon's voice was quiet. By the time you were born, we'd already spent 20 years trying to kill each other over territory disputes. A jogger passed by, earbuds in, oblivious to the conversation happening. My son is dead because of you, Taewon said. Yes, Min Seok acknowledged. He's dead because he kidnapped the woman I love and tried to murder me. But yes, my people killed him. He was always impulsive, like his mother. Taewon's jaw tightened. I told him the engagement falling apart wasn't worth starting a war over, told him to let it go, find another alliance. He didn't listen. No, he thought he was protecting family honor. Taewon turned to look at Min Seok directly. He was protecting his own pride, and it got him killed. Min Seok said nothing, let the admission settle between them. I could kill you right now, Taewon continued. Avenge my son. Continue this war until one of our organizations collapses completely. You could try. I have 3 snipers positioned around this park, Taewon said calmly. You have 2. I counted. So yes, I could kill you. The question is whether it's worth it. Min Seok's phone buzzed in his pocket. Text from Naomi. He's lying. I count 4 snipers on his side. Want me to take them out? Min Seok typed back without looking. Stand down. Let him talk. The warehouse you destroyed last night, Taewon said. 23 of my people died. Good soldiers, men with families. I'm supposed to avenge them too. Just like I'm supposed to avenge the 30 people you massacred at the Golden Tiger Casino, Min Seok replied. And the warehouse was self-defense. Your people were there to bomb my legitimate operations. There's no such thing as legitimate operations in our world. You know that. Maybe that's the problem. Taewon studied him carefully. You're different from your father. He would have met me here with twice as many men hidden in the trees, would have tried to intimidate me into submission. I'm tired of intimidation, Min Seok said honestly. I'm tired of war. I'm tired of watching people die over pride and territory. Then why continue being a syndicate boss? Because walking away means everyone I've protected becomes vulnerable. My people, my organization, Naomi. He leaned back against the bench. So I stay, and I try to build something less destructive than what my father left me. A woman walked past pushing a stroller. Both men fell silent until she was out of earshot. I didn't come here to kill you, Taewon said finally. I came to offer a deal. I'm listening. My son's death ends the blood feud between our families. No more retaliation, no more attacks. We return to the way things were before. Separate territories, mutual respect, occasional cooperation when it benefits us both. And in exchange, you acknowledge that Jin Hyun's death was justified self-defense. You make a public statement that the Park family bears no responsibility for the violence of the past week. And you pay reparations to the families of the men who died in your warehouse. Min Seok considered this. How much reparations? $5 million US, divided among 23 families. That's reasonable. Too reasonable, actually, which meant there was another condition coming. There's one more thing, Taewon said. The woman, Naomi Carter. She leaves Seoul permanently, goes back to America or wherever, just gone. And there it was. No, Min Seok said immediately. She's the reason this war started, but she's the reason I'm still alive, Min Seok interrupted. My mother tried to have me killed. Your son tried to have me killed. Naomi is the only person who's been honest with me through all of this. She's also a foreign tech CEO with zero ties to our world, Taewon pointed out. She doesn't understand how we operate, doesn't respect our traditions. Every time she's involved in syndicate business, chaos follows. The chaos followed because people underestimated her, or because she's dangerous in ways you're too blind to see. Taewon's voice turned hard. I've done research on her. She's killed people, runs illegal surveillance operations. Her company is built on corporate espionage and blackmail. She's exactly as ruthless as we are. She just hides it behind humanitarian press releases. I know what she is, Min Seok said quietly. I know what she's done, and I don't care. Then you're a fool. Probably. Min Seok stood up. But I'm a fool who's not giving her up to make your life easier. Taewon remained seated, looking up at him. If she stays, the violence continues. Other families will see your attachment to her as weakness. They'll attack to test you. More people will die. Eventually, someone will succeed in killing one or both of you. Let them try. This is the peaceful option, Kang Min Seok. Taewon's voice turned cold. The alternative is I mobilize every ally I have and we destroy the Black Viper Syndicate completely. Burn your operations to the ground. Kill everyone loyal to you. Turn your territory into a parking lot. You'd lose half your own people in the process. I'm 63 years old. My son is dead. My wife died 5 years ago. I have nothing left to lose. Taewon stood slowly. Can you say the same? The question hung in the air like smoke. Min Seok thought about Naomi, about his syndicate, about all the people depending on him to make decisions that kept them alive. I need 24 hours, he said finally. You have 12. Taewon started walking away. After that, I assume your answer is no, and we proceed accordingly. He disappeared down the path, guards materializing from the trees to follow him. Min Seok stood alone by the river, phone buzzing with Naomi's incoming call. He answered, I'm fine. What did he want? Her voice was tight. Peace. In exchange for you leaving Seoul permanently. Silence on the other end. I'm coming to get you, Naomi, Naomi said finally. Just stay there. I'll walk to you. Min Seok, I need to think. Give me 10 minutes. He hung up before she could argue. The river flowed past, indifferent to human drama. Somewhere upstream, families were having picnics. Downstream, fishermen cast lines hoping for catch they'd never eat. And Min Seok stood trying to figure out how to choose between love and survival when the two had become impossibly tangled. The car ride back to the safe house was silent. Naomi drove. Min Seok stared out the window, watching Seoul blur past. the city he'd spent his entire life trying to control and protect. "You're actually considering it," Naomi said finally. "I'm considering all options." "That's not a denial." Min Seok turned to look at her. "If you stay, Taewon mobilizes every ally he has. We're looking at full-scale war across Seoul, hundreds of people dead, maybe thousands if it goes long enough. And if I leave? Peace. Reparations. Return to normal operations." "Normal operations that got 30 people massacred 3 days ago," Naomi pointed out. "Normal operations where your mother tried to have you killed. Normal operations that are built on violence and fear. It's still better than war." She pulled the car over abruptly. They were in an empty parking lot near the river. "Look at me," Naomi demanded. He turned. "I didn't survive 9 years building an empire just to run away again," she said. Her voice shook slightly. "I didn't come back to Seoul to make peace with the people who destroyed my family. I came back to stand beside you or burn everything down trying." "I don't want you to burn down with me. That's not your choice to make." She grabbed his hand. "I'm an adult. I've killed people. I've built weapons-grade surveillance systems. I've done things that would get me arrested in 12 countries. Don't treat me like some innocent civilian who needs protecting. I'm trying to keep you alive." "I'm trying to keep us both alive," Naomi interrupted. "And running away doesn't guarantee that. Taewon might promise peace, but what about the next rival family? What about Golden Dragon Industries? What about all the other enemies you've made?" She had a point. "If I leave," Naomi continued, "you'll be alone again, making decisions based on strategy instead of what you actually want, turning back into the weapon your father raised you to be. Maybe that's what this world needs." "No." Her eyes glistened. "That's what this world takes. There's a difference." Min Seok pulled her close, breathed in the scent of her hair, something floral and expensive, that reminded him she'd become someone beyond his reach, and somehow still chosen to stay. "I don't know how to win this," he admitted quietly. "Maybe we're not supposed to win," Naomi said. "Maybe we're just supposed to survive long enough to figure out what comes after." His phone buzzed, text from his second-in-command. "Emergency. You need to get back to the mansion immediately." Another text. "Your mother is here. She's demanding to see you." Min Seok showed Naomi the messages. "Of course she is," Naomi muttered. "Can't let you make a decision without her trying to control it." "We don't have to go." "Yes, we do." She started the car. "Because whatever she wants to say, we need to hear it before making any decisions about Taewon's offer." They drove to the mansion in tense silence. Besides, his mother waited in the main sitting room, the space where she used to host political dinners and syndicate meetings. She sat in a high-backed chair like a queen holding court, even though she'd been formally exiled from the organization. Two of Min Seok's guards stood at the doors looking uncomfortable. "I told them to let me in," his mother said calmly when Min Seok and Naomi entered. "I told them if they didn't, I'd make one phone call and this entire mansion would be raided by federal authorities within the hour." "You're bluffing," Min Seok said. "Try me." She smiled without warmth. "I've been part of this syndicate for 30 years. You think I don't have insurance policies?" Naomi moved to stand beside Min Seok. "What do you want?" "I want to save my son's life." His mother's gaze shifted to her. "Which means getting you out of Seoul before you destroy everything he's built." "I've heard this speech," Naomi said coldly. "From Taiwan, from you, from everyone who thinks I'm the problem." "You are the problem," his mother said. "Not because you're weak, because you make him weak. Min Seok was a perfect syndicate boss before you came back. Feared, respected, untouchable. Now he's making emotional decisions that are getting people killed." "He was also miserable," Naomi countered. "Alone, building an empire he didn't even want. Want is irrelevant in our world. Survival is all that matters. Then maybe your world is broken." His mother laughed, sharp and bitter. "Of course it's broken. It's been broken since the first person decided violence was easier than cooperation. But it's the world we have, and pretending otherwise gets you killed." She stood up, walked toward them. "Park Taewon offered you peace in exchange for her leaving," she said to Min Seok. "I know because his people contacted me, wanted to know if I'd support the deal." "And?" Min Seok asked. "I told them I'd support anything that kept you alive." His mother's expression softened slightly. "I know you hate me." I know you think I'm a monster who tried to have you killed, but everything I've done, every manipulation, every betrayal, was to prepare you for this moment. What moment? The moment you'd have to choose between love and power. She gestured between him and Naomi. Your father never learned to make that choice. He tried to have both and it destroyed him. He loved your mother, my predecessor, but he also loved control. Eventually, the control consumed everything else. Min Seok had never heard his mother talk about his father's first wife, the woman who died when Min Seok was 3, officially from illness, unofficially from neglect and abuse. I don't want to become my father, Min Seok said quietly. Then don't, his mother replied. Make the choice he couldn't. Choose love. Let her go. Save yourself. That's not choosing love, Naomi said. That's choosing survival. They're the same thing in our world. No. Naomi's voice turned hard. They're opposites. Survival is what you do when you've given up on everything else. Love is what you fight for when survival isn't enough. His mother studied her carefully. You've changed since you were the scholarship girl who used to cry in the kitchen. Yes, Naomi acknowledged. I learned from the best. I learned that power matters, that money talks, that people respect violence more than kindness. She moved closer to his mother. I learned everything you tried to teach Min Seok. The difference is I didn't let it hollow me out completely. You think I'm hollow? I think you're terrified. Naomi's expression softened slightly. Terrified that if Min Seok chooses love over power, he'll end up dead. Terrified that you failed to protect him. Terrified that everything you sacrificed to build this empire meant nothing. His mother's composure cracked. Just barely. Just enough. I am terrified, she admitted quietly, because I've watched this pattern repeat for 30 years. Boss falls in love. Boss becomes vulnerable. Boss gets killed by people who exploit that vulnerability. I won't watch it happen to my son. Then help us survive instead of trying to separate us, Naomi said. I don't know how. The admission hung in the air, raw and honest and completely unexpected. Min Seok moved between them. Mother, if I send Naomi away, will that actually guarantee peace? Or will Taiwan just find another excuse to attack once he realizes I'm isolated? His mother was silent for a long moment. I don't know, she said finally. Taiwan is honorable by syndicate standards. If he promises peace, he'll likely keep it, but you're right. Other families will test you regardless. They always do. Then sending Naomi away only solves one problem while creating others. Yes. So what do you suggest I do? His mother looked between them, Min Seok and Naomi standing together like they were facing a firing squad. I suggest you do what I couldn't, she said quietly. Choose love. Keep her. Fight everyone who tries to separate you, and maybe you'll survive where others didn't. Min Seok stared at his mother. You're serious. I'm exhausted. She sat down heavily. I've spent 3 decades trying to control everything, trying to protect you from the same fate that killed your father. But I can't control this. I can't control who you love or how you choose to survive. She looked at Naomi directly. If you stay, she said, I'll help you, both of you. I'll use my connections to stabilize the situation with Taiwan. I'll help fortify the syndicate against external threats. I'll do whatever it takes to keep my son alive. Why? Naomi asked. You've spent 9 years trying to keep us apart. Because I was wrong. His mother's voice cracked. I was wrong about a lot of things, and I'm tired of being wrong. Min Seok felt something shift in his chest, something that had been frozen since childhood slowly starting to thaw. If I accept your help, he said carefully, you need to understand Naomi is part of this organization now. Equal partner, equal say in decisions. I understand. And you stop trying to manipulate us. I'll try, his mother said. Old habits are hard to break, but I'll try. Naomi looked at Min Seok. Do you trust her? No, he admitted, but I don't trust anyone completely. That's survival in our world. Fair point. His phone buzzed. Text from Taiwan. Time's up. What's your answer? Min Seok showed the message to both women. Tell him I'm staying, Naomi said immediately. That's a declaration of war, his mother warned. Then we fight. Naomi's expression turned cold. I'm done running, done negotiating with people who think I'm disposable. Taewon wants war? We'll give him war, and we'll win. You sound very confident for someone whose company is currently imploding from scandal, his mother observed. My company will recover. Companies always do if you throw enough money at lawyers and PR firms. Naomi pulled out her own phone. What matters right now is sending a message that we're not backing down. Min Seok looked at his mother. If we do this, if we reject Taewon's offer, the Park family will attack with everything they have. Yes, she agreed. Can we survive that? His mother was quiet for a moment. Then, if we work together? Maybe. If we leverage every alliance, every resource, every advantage we have? Possibly. But it won't be easy, and we'll lose people. We're already losing people, Min Seok said. 30 dead at the casino, 23 in the warehouse. How much worse can it get? Much worse, his mother said quietly. War isn't just about soldiers dying. It's about civilian casualties, police crackdowns, government intervention, everything we've built becoming collateral damage. Then we minimize casualties while maximizing impact, Naomi said. She started pulling up files on her phone. I have intelligence on every Park family operation in Seoul, every warehouse, every front business, every financial account. We hit them surgically, disable their operations without mass violence. That's naive, his mother said. This is war. People will die regardless. Then we make sure the right people die, Naomi countered coldly. Min Seok looked between them, his mother and the woman he loved, both of them discussing murder like discussing the weather. This is insane, he said. Completely, Naomi agreed. We might all die. Most likely, his mother added. But if we survive, Min Seok continued slowly, we'll have proven that love doesn't have to be weakness, that choosing someone doesn't mean surrendering power. He pulled out his phone, typed a response to Taewon. My answer is no. Naomi stays. If you want war, come and take what you think you deserve. We'll be waiting. He showed the message to both women before sending. Last chance to change your mind, his mother said. I'm not changing my mind, Min Seok replied. He hit send. The message disappeared into the digital void, and somewhere across Seoul, Park Taewon would be reading it and preparing for war. Bayit. The attack came 3 hours later. Not against syndicate operations, not against legitimate businesses, against the safe house where Min Seok and Naomi had been staying. RPG through the living room window at dusk. The explosion tore through the apartment, turned furniture into shrapnel, started fires that spread through the building within minutes. But Min Seok and Naomi weren't there. They were at the mansion coordinating defenses with his mother and the syndicate captains when the alert came through. Safe house just got hit, his second-in-command reported. RPG attack, buildings on fire, civilian casualties on lower floors. Min Seok felt cold settle in his stomach. How many civilians? Unknown. Fire department is still responding. Taewon is sending a message, his mother said quietly. He's willing to kill innocents to get to you. Then we send one back, Naomi said. She pulled up intelligence on her laptop. Park family has a legitimate real estate development company, corporate headquarters in Gangnam, mostly empty at night except for security. You want to bomb their corporate headquarters? Captain Kim asked. I want to disable their financial operations without killing civilians, Naomi corrected. We plant explosives in the server rooms, destroy their records, cripple their ability to coordinate. That's still arson, Captain Choi pointed out. So was the RPG that just killed how many innocent people? Naomi's voice turned sharp. We're past legal, we're past moral high ground, we're in survival mode, and we do what works. Min Seok studied the building plan she'd pulled up. How do we get inside without triggering security? I can hack their systems remotely, Naomi said. Give you a 30-minute window where cameras loop, alarms disable, and doors unlock. You get in, plant the charges, get out. Who's you in this scenario? His mother asked. Me, Min Seok said. And whatever team volunteers. His second-in-command raised his hand. I'm in. 2 more guards volunteered immediately. This is reckless, his mother said. If you're caught, we won't be caught. Min Seok stood up. Naomi, how long to hack their security? Give me 20 minutes. Then we move in 40 minutes. He looked around the room. Everyone else fortifies positions here. I want this mansion turned into a fortress. Triple the guards. Set up defensive perimeters. If Taiwan tries a direct assault, we need to be ready. People moved immediately, phones out, making calls, coordinating security. Naomi pulled Min Seok aside while her laptop ran decryption programs. You don't have to do this yourself, she said quietly. Send your men. You're the boss. You don't need to risk. I'm not sending people to do something I'm not willing to do myself, Min Seok interrupted. My father did that. Sent soldiers to die while he stayed safe. I won't be him. Your father also died alone and hated. Exactly. He cupped her face gently, which is why I'm trying to be different. She kissed him, soft and desperate. They broke apart when her laptop beeped. Security protocols cracked. Access granted. You've got your 30-minute window starting at 9 p.m., Naomi said. After that, systems reset and you're on your own. Then we better be fast. The Park family corporate headquarters looked like any other office building in Gangnam's business district. Glass and steel, 20 floors, logo that meant nothing to anyone outside real estate circles. Min Seok and his team approached from the parking garage at exactly 9 p.m. Naomi had disabled the cameras, unlocked the access doors, given them clear path to the server rooms on the 15th floor. They moved quickly through empty hallways, planting small explosive charges every 50 meters. Not enough to level the building, just enough to destroy infrastructure and send a message. The server room was behind biometric locks that Naomi had remotely disabled. Inside was millions of dollars worth of computing equipment humming quietly in climate-controlled darkness. Min Seok placed the largest charge directly against the main servers. 5-minute timer, he said into his radio. Naomi's voice crackled back. Acknowledged. Get out. They were halfway back to the parking garage when Min Seok heard it. Footsteps. Multiple people. Coming from the stairwell ahead. He raised his fist. His team froze. The footsteps got closer. Then Park Taiwan walked around the corner flanked by 8 armed guards. Both groups stopped, staring at each other across 20 meters of corporate hallway. Kang Min Seok, Taiwan said calmly. I was hoping you'd come personally. How did you know we'd be here? Min Seok demanded. I didn't, but I know how you think. You received my message at the safe house. You'd respond with equivalent aggression against a legitimate target. Taiwan gestured around. This building was the obvious choice. Then you know we just planted explosives throughout. I assumed. Taiwan checked his watch. How long before they detonate? 4 minutes. Then we should talk quickly. He waved his guards back. Lower your weapons. Both sides. Min Seok hesitated, then nodded to his team. Guns lowered. Taiwan's people did the same. I'm going to make you one final offer, Taiwan said, because I'm tired of war, and I suspect you are too. I'm listening. We end this right now. No more attacks. No more casualties. We divide Seoul territory cleanly. You keep Gangnam and Itaewon. I take Gangbuk and Mapo. We operate independently but cooperate when external threats emerge. And Naomi? She can stay. I'll publicly acknowledge that the violence was due to my son's actions. I'll pay reparations to the families affected. Clean slate. Min Seok studied Taiwan's face carefully. Why the change? Because this, Taiwan gestured at the building, is expensive. Rebuilding servers costs money. Rebuilding dead soldiers costs nothing, but they're irreplaceable. I'm bleeding resources fighting you when I should be consolidating power against bigger threats. What bigger threats? Golden Dragon Industries has been quietly absorbing smaller gangs while we've been killing each other. Japanese Yakuza are expanding into Korean territory. Chinese triads are moving south. Taiwan's expression hardened. We're so focused on destroying each other that we're missing the real war coming. He had a point. 3 minutes, Min Seok's second-in-command said quietly. Accept my offer, Taiwan said, or we all die when this building explodes and the war continues with people even less reasonable than us. Min Seok's phone buzzed. Text from Naomi. Don't trust him. It's a trap. Another text. I'm tracking police frequencies. Someone called in the explosives. Bomb squad is en route. If you stay, you'll be arrested. He showed the messages to Taiwan. Did you call the police? Min Seok asked. No. Taewon pulled out his own phone, checked something. His expression darkened. But someone did, which means we have approximately 2 minutes before this building is surrounded. Then we both leave, separately, regroup and continue negotiating. Or we leave together, Taewon said. Make a show of cooperation. Tell the police we were meeting to discuss legitimate business partnerships when we received a bomb threat. Play this as concerned citizens instead of gang bosses. That's insane. 2 minutes, the second-in-command repeated. It's survival, Taewon corrected. What's your choice? Min Se-ok looked at his team, at Taewon's guards, at the hallway that would become a crime scene in 90 seconds. Fine, he said. We leave together. But if this is a trap, it's not. Taewon started walking toward the parking garage. I'm too tired for traps. I just want this over. They moved quickly, both groups together. Min Se-ok texted Naomi. Change of plans. Leaving with Taewon. Don't shoot anyone. Her response? Are you insane? Probably, he thought. They emerged from the parking garage just as police cars started arriving. Min Se-ok and Taewon walked out together, hands visible, looking exactly like two businessmen evacuating a building threat. Officers, Taewon said calmly. We received an anonymous bomb threat. The building has been evacuated. We're the last ones out. Names? A police officer demanded. Park Taewon, real estate developer. Kang Min Se-ok, technology consultant. The officer's eyes narrowed slightly, recognition flickering across his face. He knew exactly who they were. Knew they were both syndicate bosses. Knew something was wrong. But he also knew starting an arrest in the middle of a bomb threat evacuation would be procedurally complicated. Wait by those cars, he ordered. We'll need statements after the bomb squad clears the building. They moved to the designated area, stood together while police and fire departments swarmed the building. Your charges won't detonate, Taewon said quietly. Bomb squad will find them and defuse them. I know, Min Se-ok replied. So this was pointless. Not completely. Min Se-ok gestured at the police presence. Now the Park family corporate headquarters is a crime scene. Your records will be confiscated. Your operations will be investigated. Even if they don't find evidence of illegal activity, the disruption costs you months. Taewon smiled slightly. Clever. I learned from the best. They stood in silence, watching Seoul's emergency services do their jobs. My offer still stands, Taewon said after a while. Territory division, peace, cooperation against external threats. I need to discuss it with my people. You have 24 hours. Then I assume your answer is no, and we continue as we were. Min Se-ok's phone rang. Naomi. I'm fine, he said before she could speak. You're insane, she corrected. Taewon could have killed you in that building. He didn't. This time. What about next time? Maybe there won't be a next time. Min Se-ok watched police tape being set up around the perimeter. He's offering peace. Real peace. Territory division. No more war. And you believe him? I don't know. He turned away from Taewon, lowered his voice. But I'm tired of fighting, tired of watching people die. If there's even a chance this offer is genuine, shouldn't we take it? Naomi was quiet for a long moment. Come back to the mansion, she said finally. We'll discuss it together, with your mother, with the captains. Make the decision collectively instead of standing in a parking lot surrounded by police. Agreed. He looked back at Taewon. I need to go. 24 hours, Taewon reminded him. Min Se-ok walked away before the police could finish setting up interview stations. His team followed, disappearing into Seoul's nighttime crowds like they'd never been there at all. Bang. The syndicate meeting lasted 4 hours. Every captain weighed in. Arguments erupted. Accusations flew. Captain Kim thought accepting peace looked weak. Captain Choi thought rejecting it was suicide. Captain Min stayed neutral, which meant he was waiting to see which side won before committing. Min Se-ok's mother advocated for accepting Taewon's offer with extensive caveats and verification. Naomi advocated for whatever kept Min Se-ok alive, which she grudgingly admitted might be peace. Finally, at 2 a.m, Min Se-ok called for a vote. All in favor of accepting Park Taewon's peace offer with territory division as outlined. 7 hands went up. Everyone except Captain Kim. Motion passes, Min Seok said. We accept peace. Draft the formal agreement. I want lawyers from both sides reviewing every clause. Implementation begins immediately. The captains dispersed slowly, exhaustion written across their faces. Min Seok stood alone in the conference room with Naomi and his mother. This is the right choice, his mother said quietly. I hope so, Min Seok replied. It is. She moved toward the door. Because war was destroying all of us. At least this way we survived to fight another day. She left, closing the door behind her. Naomi moved to stand beside Min Seok, took his hand. We did it, she said. We survived. More than survived. She turned to face him. We built something, together, an alliance between your syndicate and my company. Peace with the Park family, your mother actually cooperating instead of sabotaging. It feels temporary, Min Seok admitted, like it could all collapse any moment. Maybe, Naomi rested her head against his shoulder. Or maybe we're just not used to things actually working out. They stood in silence, listening to the mansion settle around them. What happens now? Min Seok asked. I rebuild my company's reputation. You stabilize syndicate operations. We figure out how to live in this world without constantly fighting for survival. Sounds boring. Sounds perfect. Min Seok's phone buzzed one final time. Text from Taiwan. Peace agreement accepted. We'll finalize details tomorrow. Thank you for choosing wisdom over pride. He showed Naomi the message. She smiled slightly. Think he means it? I think he's as tired as we are, Min Seok said, which is probably the best foundation for peace, mutual exhaustion. They left the conference room together, walked through the mansion halls that had witnessed generations of violence and power struggles. The gardens outside looked peaceful in the early morning darkness. Remember when we used to sneak out here? Naomi asked. When I was still the scholarship girl and you were the boss's son. I remember thinking you were too good for this world. I wasn't. I was just naive. She stopped walking, turned to face him. But maybe naive was better. We were happier then. We were ignorant then, Min Seok corrected. Happiness built on not knowing how terrible everything really was. And now? Now we know exactly how terrible everything is. He pulled her close. And we're choosing to build something better anyway. Naomi kissed him, soft and slow and tasting like hope instead of desperation. They broke apart eventually. I need to call my lawyers, Naomi said. Start damage control on the company scandal. I need to coordinate with Taiwan's people about territory handoffs. So we have work. Endless work. They smiled at each other, tired and damaged, and somehow still standing. Then they went their separate ways to handle the business of surviving. Because that's what love looked like in their world. Not grand gestures or dramatic sacrifices. Just two people choosing to keep building despite everything trying to tear them apart. 6 months later, Naomi and Min Seok stood on a beach in Busan watching the sunset turn the ocean gold and orange. The peace agreement with the Park family had held. Territory divisions had been implemented. Carter Technologies had survived the scandal through aggressive PR and strategic lawsuits. The Seoul metropolitan government had awarded the Smart City contract to a joint venture between Black Viper Syndicate and Naomi's company. Everything had worked out almost impossibly well, which made Min Seok nervous. You're thinking too much, Naomi said without looking at him. I'm thinking the right amount. You're thinking something's about to go wrong because things have been going right. She knew him too well. Can you blame me? Min Seok asked. 6 months ago, we were in the middle of a gang war. Now we're standing on a beach like normal people. We are normal people, Naomi said, just with more complicated job descriptions. A wave crashed against the shore. Seabirds circled overhead. I bought a house here, Min Seok said abruptly. Naomi turned to look at him. What? A house. In Busan, overlooking the ocean. I bought it 3 months ago. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted to wait until it was ready. He pulled out his phone, showed her photos. Small traditional house, garden, private beach access. I thought maybe we could use it when we need to escape Seoul, when the syndicate and the company and everything else gets too heavy. Naomi stared at the photos. This is real? Completely. You bought us a house. Yes. She laughed, surprised and delighted. That's the most romantic thing you've ever done. I killed multiple people for you. That seems more romantic. This is different, she kissed him. This is planning a future instead of just surviving the present. Min Seok pulled a small box from his pocket. Naomi went very still. I'm not good at speeches, he said. And this isn't a traditional proposal because nothing about us has ever been traditional. He opened the box, simple gold band, no diamond, nothing ostentatious. But I want you to know, he continued, that every choice I've made in the past year has been about building a life with you. Not just surviving, not just managing crises, actually building something permanent. Naomi's eyes filled with tears. So, Min Seok said quietly, will you marry me? Officially this time, not as a strategic alliance, not as a business partnership, just as two people who've somehow survived everything and want to keep surviving together. She took the ring from the box with shaking hands. Yes, she whispered. Then louder, yes, obviously yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly because he'd spent 3 weeks getting the size exactly right. They kissed as the sun finished setting, painting the sky in colors that looked like fire and hope mixed together. When they broke apart, Naomi was crying and laughing simultaneously. This is insane, she said. Completely, Min Seok agreed. We're going to have to plan a wedding. We'll hire people. Your mother is going to have opinions. She always does. The syndicate captains will want to attend. Let them. Naomi laughed again. This is really happening. We're actually going to do this. Unless you want to back out. Don't you dare. She grabbed his hand. I've spent 9 years getting back to you. I'm not backing out now. They stood on the beach as darkness fell, listening to waves crash and rebuild endlessly against the shore. Somewhere behind them, Seoul continued its chaos. Crime families jockeying for power, technology companies launching new products, the eternal dance of ambition and survival that defined their world. But here, for this moment, it was just them. Two people who'd chosen each other over empires. Two people who'd learned that love wasn't weakness. It was the only thing strong enough to survive when everything else burned down. What are you thinking? Naomi asked. Min Seok looked at the ring on her finger, catching moonlight like captured starlight. I'm thinking my father was wrong, he said quietly. Power isn't what keeps you alive in this world. It's having someone worth staying alive for. Naomi rested her head against his shoulder. Your father would hate me. Good. Min Seok smiled. That means I chose right. They walked back toward the car as the moon rose over Busan's skyline, hands intertwined, future stretching ahead uncertain and beautiful, and theirs to build however they wanted. Because some empires were worth abandoning, and some people were worth building new ones with. And sometimes, just sometimes, the most dangerous thing you could do was choose love and survive anyway. 1 year later, Naomi stood in their Busan house looking out over the ocean, one hand resting on her rounded stomach. Min Seok appeared behind her, wrapped his arms carefully around her growing belly. How are you feeling? He asked. Terrified, she admitted. We're about to bring a child into this world, our world. The one filled with crime syndicates and corporate espionage and people who'd use a baby as leverage. I know. What if we can't protect them? We will. Min Seok's voice was certain. Between my syndicate and your security systems and both our paranoia, this kid is going to be the most protected human on the planet. Naomi laughed despite herself. We're going to be terrible parents. Probably. He turned her around gently to face him. But we'll try anyway, because that's what we do. Try impossible things and somehow survive them. She kissed him softly. They'd gotten married 6 months ago in a small ceremony attended by family and syndicate captains and Carter Technologies executives, all trying not to kill each other. His mother had cried. Naomi's employees had looked terrified. The whole event had been beautifully chaotic, just like their life. Have you thought about names? Min Seok asked. I was thinking something hopeful, Naomi said. Something that means new beginning, fresh start. Like what? I don't know yet. She smiled. We have time. They stood together watching the sunset paint the ocean in impossible colors. And somewhere inside Naomi, a new life grew. carrying the legacy of two people who'd survived hell and chosen to build heaven anyway. The future was uncertain, the world was still dangerous, but they'd learned one truth that made everything else survivable. Some people were worth abandoning empires for, and some were worth building new ones with. And the strongest thing you could do, stronger than violence, stronger than fear, stronger than survival itself, was choose love and refuse to let go. Even when the whole world was burning, especially then.